that's what he has to say. That the speaker, his duty or his responsibility as a speaker of parliament is to receive the letter and act upon the letter. He can't be an arbiter between political parties to say who is what, where. What he just need to do is to act on the demand of the letter. If you are aggrieved or you have grievance or you have question or you have any whatever you think of, you go to court. Is the one that can settle the dispute. So that's what we are actually waiting to hear what the court will say. Ross, do you have anything to say?
Thank you so much for the audio you played. I think the person who was speaking, he tried to explain, or he tried to interpret that the Speaker of Parliament has no business, or the Parliament has no business of regulating what political parties to what a political party has said, and follow that. So in this case, or in what we are seeing today, or what we have been seeing for the past month, or for the past 2 weeks, is that these people, maybe the ZANU PF interim Secretary General has come out to say they have issues in their political party which they need which they have decided to resolve by recalling some of their members from the parliament, and they did send a letter to the Speaker of Parliament, and the Speaker of Parliament has received the letter and is in the media that they have decided to recall those 70 members. What we need to understand, maybe as Zimbabweans or as a people, that we are already in a constitutional crisis, and we need to have a way forward we need to have to define a way forward, maybe to come out of this, and that's what we are discussing, and that's what we are talking about. So if you want to say a word, if you want to contribute something, maybe you can request the mic and come to speak your mind. Let us know what you think about the ongoing recalls. I have seen also another letter in the media that ZANU PF has confirmed the recalls. I think I've seen that letter and something like that. So we just need to have a platform to discuss what's happening. If you want to say something, you can request the mic and come and speak. I see there is Mambo Sose. If you can take the mic, over to you, Mambo Sose.
Let me hear other people speak. I'm just joining, and I'm trying to find somewhere where I can park and then join. You know, if you can just fill me up, maybe I can jump on. I'm going to candle mic, change radio. Pasina background. What are the people saying? What are you discussing about?
Let me quickly do that, maybe so that you can speak your mind. Maybe in the afternoon today, around 2 p.m. time, around 2 p.m. time, you can see the pinned tweet up there. A man claiming to be the interim Secretary General of ZANU PF has written to the Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Mtenda, purportedly recalling 70 ZANU PF MPs, ZANU PF lawmakers from the Parliament. The basis that they seized on the basis that they ceased to be members of the party. So someone by the name Tafadzwa Manyika, who is claiming to be the interim Secretary General of ZANU PF, is recalled 70 MPs from the parliament, saying they ceased to be members of their party, ZANU PF. So this is what we are discussing, and I think that's the background I have. And I was just trying to link it with the recalls we saw last week of the 23 CCC lawmakers and I think other council representatives. So this is what we are discussing here. I don't know if you got me there.
Yeah. I also saw the letter. I don't know why you're saying someone who is claiming to be the acting SG for ZANU PF. He is the acting SG for ZANU PF. That is what we have seen. That is what is on the letter. And as far as I looked at the letter, it's a bona fide and genuine ZANU PF letterhead. It was written by someone from ZANU PF. Personally, I'll take it as it is. And I don't even think that there is a relationship between this letter and what happened to Triple C members of parliament. I think this is a ZANU PF person who has decided to withdraw their members of parliament, a ZANU PF acting secretary general who is exercising his party's right or democratic right, whatever you call it, and those people have been recalled. I didn't even read the contents of the letter, and I don't even think that we should even be concerned about the contents of the letter. We are not ZANU PF. I'm not ZANU PF. So what is important is the ZANU PF members of parliament have been withdrawn, and a precedent was set that if someone writes a letter, the Speaker of Parliament, as he said, I might not quote him word by word, but he said he doesn't have the locus standi or the power or the authority to deny such kind of a letter. He said he doesn't have those powers. Those powers rest with the courts of Zimbabwe. All he does is execute. So right now we are expecting him to execute what he has been given. The letter, as I saw, was stamped by the court, which makes it an official document, a legitimate document. And once that it has been stamped, Denda cannot reject it, either on a technicality or for any reason, because it has been stamped, which means it has been accepted. It has been entered on the Parliament of Zimbabwe as a correct record of what was submitted by the acting Secretary General of ZANU PF. So really, the call should just be for Mudenda to keep up with the presidents and withdraw those 70 members of parliament from ZANU PF. But that also speaks to what we've been saying, that Zimbabwe is in a crisis. This is a typical example of a country that is in a crisis after a sham election, and we can see that it's now child play in parliament. What Mudenda did with the Triple C members of parliament is child play. Whatever is happening right now, overall, in the parliament of Zimbabwe, it's child play. And I don't know how he's going to fix that. But he has a hell lot of a big problem in front of him, because the country is watching, the international community is watching, everyone is watching how he's going to react to that. But he has to react, he has to do something. And the only thing that the people of Zimbabwe would expect him to do is just to withdraw those members of parliament. And if ZANU PF wants to appeal the decision, they have to go to court, just like Triple C has done. And then all we can say now, let the fun begins. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mambo Sose, for those comments. I think we have a gap we need to fill, maybe as Zimbabweans or maybe as political parties or as not as political parties, but as citizens of Zimbabwe. We have a gap we have to fill. What is happening in our country needs us to bring a solution, not an individual, not even a political party to bring a solution, but a collective, a collective collectively as a people or as citizens of a country. Co-host, do you have anything to say before we go to Graham?
Now let's hear from Grab what you said.
Graham, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, colleagues and friends. I think Zimbabwe has entered into uncharted waters. This has never happened, and it's a highly unprecedented move that has come from both parties. What Chabangu did was highly unprecedented in that it came in hardly, a month after, an election. And what we are seeing, the retaliation from ZANU PF is equally unprecedented. So my take is ZANU PF did not see this coming. Equally so for the Speaker and the President of Senate did not see this coming. Because if you take from their comments when they received Shabangu's letter, they gave a precedence that they are not the arbiter in terms of who writes. So the take that we have now is a simple case of the President of Senate and Mudenda acting on this letter from Matika. How Matika arrives at being an interim is an issue that needs a bit more interrogation, because we already know that Obet Mpofu is the Secretary General of ZANU PF. But how that plays out is going to be the interesting bit in terms of how this Parliament and Senate are going to effect the letter. But in terms of how we expect them to, the presidency is already there. So this puts a cat amongst pigeons, where SADC has written a letter, a report, and then Ramaphosa seemed to be siding along with ZANU PF. On the other hand, you have Chamisa saying, look, the agitation that we have as citizens is overly flowing, but ngatimbomirai pane zviri kuitika. So we don't know whether Chamisa has a hand in this because he was anticipating this letter coming through. But at the same time, you also know that ZANU PF had penciled in a Congress, which normally is in December, but it had been brought forward to come in as early before December. So the whole scope of the Congress in anticipation, was now being kufungidzirwa kunzi, no, he wants to maybe change the constitution and go for a third term. A third term that would then see him through what are so-called my projects are SIPO, Asiri Kufamba and everything. If you look at the things that are happening in Zimbabwe today, it's interesting that there's an analysis that I heard today from a former finance minister of Zimbabwe, telling us that Zimbabwe had a 7 billion economy in 1980 and Zambia had 3 billion and Kenya had 7 billion. Today we are sitting on 18 billion and Zambia is 64 and Kenya is 226. So clearly, we have a situation where including those in ZANU PF are disgruntled about the administration of ZANU PF. We are not progressing. And as a result, there's cronyism and favoritism that in appointments. So you find that even those in ZANU PF, Matika is disgruntled and he's just not the only one. Not just him. I had the privilege of sitting with one senior person in ZANU PF, and he told me now that including those that are within the army, they are now highly disgruntled because they are being left out. Being left out in the matrix of the growth of the economy because mari haisi kudzoka munyika. Those that steal the gold, they then take it outside the country. Those that steal platinum or lithium, they then take it out of the country. Today, we are told that we have 63 minerals. 63 minerals, out of them, we are also told that one country across the border has one mineral. And Isuzu 63, but nothing is showing for it. So this letter from Matika is only a summation of the disgruntlement that cuts across the divide of the Zimbabweans. Zimbabweans within the two largest political parties, which is the CCC and ZANU PF. So we need now to crack the puzzle in terms of what is really going on. But the real crux of the matter today is the reaction that we are going to get from the clerk of parliament and the president of Senate. Surely they must act on the precedents that they have given already, and that precedent is exactly what we expect of them by the end of this week. If that happens, then we are now saying this country is in crisis, and the two leaders that we have, if not all of the leaders that participated in the election, must sit and come together to come and formulate a solution that is lasting for the next 5 years, so that at least Zimbabweans can have a better and improved life. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mkoma Graham. Thank you so much, Champion, for those words with wisdom. I know for sure we, like I said earlier on when you started, that we have got mixed feeling about it, and I know hanzi charu akadanativu kana tiri kwedu kumasvingo handizive kuti kundozviexplaina sei in English because chirungu chinozombotiza. But what I am getting from you, Champion Graham, is that the president has already been set, and the president was that the ZANU PF did not anticipate it will happen to them in this way. And if you look at the story, obviously people might want to get the picture. Where is it really coming from? I'm sure the story is coming back date to 2017 when Mnangagwa came into power. The people who were chunked out of ZANU, some of them were not even fired. There's no dismissal letter, and still people still holding those positions. But anyway, that's not my baby to nest. That's not my analysis. But I would want to see how if the member of parliament, the 70, are going to be withdrawn from parliament. That's the first thing. And I would want to see how the court is going to unfold, being this comrade, whatever Manyika, is going to be present to put his side of the story and where they come from. So again, I do not think that the position of SG in ZANU PF, I know Opetumpov is actually not the SG. I think it's the Secretary of Administration or something like that. That's what they call it. But I don't want also to discuss that further into details around that, because in law they said it's a case in sub judice. It might be a case that will go to court, and then we preempt. Obviously, we want to hear more from citizens. What do you think about this case? Kumarevai Tembo, let's hear from you.
It seems like Areva Chambo dropped. We have a senior Ango K.
Yeah, many thanks. Thanks for the space. They say it rains. It never rains. It pours. I think this is a reflection of the much talked about constitutional crisis in Zimbabwe. I think what we are failing is just to declare that we've got a constitutional crisis in Zimbabwe, supported by a number of cases that bring the whole nation to disrepute and affect the socio-economic political dynamics, and nothing is being done to bring correctness. And I like the previous speaker's presentation when he talks about 2017. It was something that was trending 2018, yeah. That was one of my interesting topics. I remember we really touched on it. What came up, which is fundamental and truthful, is that the ZANU PF, which supposedly is the ruling party, disrespected its own constitution, which speaks to holding a central committee meeting to appoint a successor. And that meeting should be called by the sitting president. It did not happen. But what is of public consumption is that it was not even below the required quorum. It was worse than TB, because these were members, largely members or former members of ZANU PF, who have been chucked out, they have been removed, and that was made public. They were not members of the ruling party, ZANU PF, per se, let alone they were not members of a central committee. But they managed to navigate, did exactly the same thing that we are now talking about today. Not to say it is a good thing, but to cement or to endorse the earlier statement that we've got a constitutional crisis. The whole country now is in this dilemma because of the developments that took place 2017, in my view. And it's something that probably happened when people were too excited. And I believe the word justice, it can be justice even after jail sentence. To me, justice has not been delivered to the people of Zimbabwe. How did our institution, the whole parliament, how was it convinced to meet gross abuse of our institution? And fast forward, they made it possible that we now have a president serving rather his second term, but his entry point was fraudulent, was unconstitutional. They always say precedents is always said sometimes these are issues to do with the constitution. which I think is problematic. And the constitution itself, I think, has got loopholes in terms of defining what's a political party, where's the mandate to do what in a political party or movement. We now have a reverse of what was trending last week. It's now the other way around. But the question I have here on this space is the difference here. We did not hear anything that speaks to Parliament has received the letter. Not so much to disqualify the whole thing, but I think it might add value if we can get something to substantiate this whole thing, this whole case. But however, I think, in my view, we may look at these things in isolation, but it's a confirmation that we do have a constitutional crisis as a people of Zimbabwe. Many thanks.
Thank you so much, Senior. Thank you so much for the words. And I think what we are agreeing on here, whatever is happening or whatever is taking place, is that we have a SADC report, we have a parliament, we have the two political parties, and the state in which the politics of the country, the economic situation, and everything else is telling a story that we need to do something as citizens of Zimbabwe. We need to do something as citizens in Africa. I see that we have Mambo Sose. Co-host, do you have anything to say before I go back to Mambo Sose? Uh, Over to you, co-host.
Yeah. So I agree with the letter speaker who spoke about. I just said it earlier on to say I think these issues gets back to some lots of aggrieved former ZANU-PF or ZANU-PF members within from what really transpired in 2017, and that alone will speak volume to the people who are coming up now. And the question again that will be need to be asked is the targeted people. What was their contribution in 2017 for excluding or isolating other comrades? And in that context, and Mambo Soshe has said earlier on that we don't need to say whether or not the person who has wrote this letter is an SG of ZANU-PF. We saw a letterhead on the letter. Funny, so if you look at Triple C letterhead, logo, you see President Chamisa is there, and the still communication is being said that they've recalled, actually the communication was saying they've recalled the president, but even the letters that are said, we saw another letter today that spoke about the Congress, still President Chamisa is still on the logo, and so forth. So that alone, if the Speaker of Parliament has used that to authentify the credibility, or to give the credibility to the letter, the same should apply to the credibility of the letter that ZANU-PF SG. For me, I don't want to say someone who is claim, because we don't know what is the claim, what is not, what, because he is the one who knows his claim. As we know, the letter is saying the interim SG of ZANU-PF. That's what we can stick on. We don't want to play with how this come about or what. The person who said is the interim SG knows how did this come about for him to be an interim SG. And that alone, what I can also say is that alone, majority, if not all of us here, we are waiting to hear what his defense in the court of law. Like the Minister of Justice says, if anyone is aggrieved, including ourselves, but more importantly, ZANU PF aggrieved, they must go to court, and we want to hear how the story is going to unfold. Back to you, host. Back to you, host. I thought you were saying, Mambo Shoshe. You take it back to Mambo Shoshe after me. I think Mambo Shoshe can go ahead if the host is not here. Mambo Shoshe, are you there? Seems like both of them, they are not online. Signoro?
Okay, let me just add something. I've always pointed out that this is a revolution. It's not a one-day event. It's not a one-man band. And as it gets deeper, you use anything, everything. You fight tooth and nail. And sometimes you don't look at the weapon and scrutinize it, even if it belongs to the enemy. Use it against the enemy. That's what speaks to a revolution towards a meaningful cause. Now, point I'm making is anything can happen. Anything could be happening. We probably could be concentrating on these fictitious letters, but probably they're intentionally so to provoke something, and something is about to happen. And I'm being inquisitive here to see what if something is about to happen. Probably I'm not the only one. Some people have always said, I've always said, it's not so much about we were used 2017, even though I was not part of, but it's spirit of embracing a problem in order to find a meaningful, effective solution. We say we as a correctional measure. It's not so much to talk about what happened, but it's about understanding that precedence was set and another opportunity can come. So much about losing an opportunity in 2017. And deep down my heart, I'm convinced that an opportunity shall arise. Not only a democratic system can bring justice to the people of Zimbabwe. Who knows? What if this is an opportunity? I think people of Zimbabwe should care less where this is coming from. But if it is an opening that will bring the whole country to distribute, to focus on constitutionalism and allow that opening to bring equality among Zimbabweans, and whether that will lead to a transitional government or anything that will satisfy, at least satisfy the majority who are trying hard to change a system of oppression that has tormented us for many years. I think words of encouragement, let's open our eyes, let's be awakened, let's be vigilant. An opportunity can come whichever way possible. And who knows, this could be an opportunity. And I think when people are discussing, I don't hear where people are trying to find out where is this coming from? Who could be igniting this? And not so much to dwell on that, but the most important thing is to be on guard and guard alert
What happened to Senor? Senor, are you still there? Okay. I hope people you are hearing me. It seems like Senor dropped down. I mean, I think his network is playing hide and seek. Also, Chief has dropped down. I think I just want to hear also like a voice from. Can we hear female voices, guys? Can you grab the mic and tell us what you think? Can we hear some female voices? I see few people here, few ladies here. Can you grab the mic and then we want to hear your voice? What do you think about these recalls and what's your anticipation? What do you think? What do you think must happen in this fracas? Someone call it a circus. Um, uh, and I don't want to call it a circus, but because just to call it things when the things kana oda nyama unoda ukapa pa uta. I think things are just unfolding, and I'll borrow even the words from President Nelson Chamisa to say, God is in it. When God is in it, everything God goes in a godly way. So, female voices, please. Can you grab the mic? We want to hear. I saw there is my sister here. From also, so there's a number of them here. Can you please grab the mic? We want to hear your voice. We want to hear what's your take in this. What's your contribution to this? Please grab the mic. Okay. Another request. Okay. Yes. I hope it's my sister, Fortunate B.
Yes, you're very right. It's a sister. So I just wanted to echo the words of, I don't know, I can't find the brother who was speaking earlier on saying, we just need to be very alert and be on guard about what's going on. The real question is what's actually going on in the background. This is what we are seeing here. We're seeing all these recalls, all these letters coming through. First of all, it indicates that the system is very porous, like anyone can infiltrate the system. This doesn't just mean that they can infiltrate the system for the different political parties, but it just shows that they can infiltrate the Zimbabwe system. So based on that, we don't know who the players are in the background and what their ultimate goal is. But we just have to be very careful and be on our guard, specifically referring to November 2017. We were so beat down, we were so tired, we were so exhausted from, the rule of the previous president that we were like, anything that comes our way, we are going to take it. That's where we were in 2017. And guess what? What should have actually happened is that when they were trying to tell people to go and sanitize the whole coup, people just went running because they were just tired and they just wanted anything other than what existed. Even if you look at now, I see some people on the spaces posting saying, chero Smith anga achitori nani, you know, chero Smith anga ari nani. There's no way kuti Smith anga ari nani. We are just desperate. We keep on getting to a point of desperation. Saka, we just, anything that comes, chero chi, we just take it and say, okay, let's just take this pamozhiri nani, you know, grabbing things from under the table. Saka, we are there again. And I really like how the other brother Ataura Gati, we have to be on guard. We don't know what all this means. We don't know if it's a battle of what. You know, we've just been pulled back and forth different directions. As for me, I am going to be on guard. I don't know, someone's going to come and dangle carrots at us and we'll go running in that direction because it seems better than where we are. And we'll all go running and we will just sanitize something which is not supposed to be sanitized. So we really have to be on guard, and whatever action or takes place by the oppressors, we have to not jump into a solution because it looks like it's coming from a democratic space. We have to be careful. I think as citizens, we have to think of ourselves now. Take the political parties out and think of ourselves, because ultimately we are the ones who are suffering. Our families are suffering. It doesn't even matter what are you ZANU, are you whatever, I don't know the different parties, are you CCC, vanhu vari kutambura, and you know, vari diaspora, you know, they are still suffering because they had to start again. So I'm not too excited about these recalls coming from either direction, because I am very wary of how we were blindsided. I can't even think, you know, I've been asking people, so in 2017, why were there thousands of people running there, you know, when they knew the person, that this person who was supposed to take over was so and so? Why? They've studied our minds, and you know, we are just so, we appear to be stupid when we are not even stupid. So I think I will say, as for me, I am not getting excited from any of these letters that are coming through. I am now on guard and I'm putting on my citizen jacket. And I'm like, okay, I'm now wanting to protect myself and my family, because I don't know what all this means, and I don't want to sanitize anything that will actually be, in hindsight, a detriment to my family. I land there. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, sister, for the good words. It is good that we also consider ourselves as we consider a God as our rescue, especially in these moments when things become seem like we need to we need to ask for his interference, especially during these difficult times. Zimbabwe is really in a crisis. What we see on the news, what we see on the social media is just a reflection of what is happening. If I remind you that just last week, just this month, just last month, we lost two prominent people from Manicaland. I think there is a doctor and there's another manager who also died, mainly because the hospitals could not afford, the hospitals could not help them. They had in some of those cases they had to go to Harare to get maybe some help. But this is the crisis we are in. People are dying. Those two individuals, maybe the third one, that guy from Mashingo, are the recorded cases. But what is happening? What about those who could not make it to be written on Twitter, to be written on Facebook, to be written in newspapers? Those people who are dying every day because they could not be helped at the hospitals. So it's an indication that we are already in a crisis economically, politically, as a country. So we really need maybe some spiritual intervention. We really need to look up to the Creator to say we need to pray for this country. Otherwise, where we are coming from and where we are going, it seems like the crisis is deepening. Over to you, CCC. CCC, are you there? I can't hear you, CCC. I don't know if you can hear me. Co-host, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can't hear Nep. CC Nep, I think what you just need to do is to drop and come up again because we cannot hear you unless the issues from your side you can be sorted from your side. Yeah. So I think it's because we cannot hear CC Nep. So I think it's gonna then you request again. Request again to come up. Today I'm going to be more of a female activist. I would like to hear voices from our lovely sisters here. I want to hear the voices. What do you think about this action that is happening in Zimbabwe, and what do you think? What is the future of the politics in Zimbabwe, and what do you think is going to happen after this? I like the contribution that my sister Fortunate gave earlier on to say, obviously, we have become so desperate that anything can be, looking gold can be dangled in front of us, and we all run to that. But in the same case, is that this situation where we are now, it's a man-made situation, and there is nothing that no one we can blame about the situation in Zimbabwe except blaming the leadership. And you can see that it's still there are some people who are being involved in this, and rather they are actually playing with the hard feelings of the citizens, and they know who we are, and they know now that we are tired of running for any option that comes on our way. And they know when they want us to run for sure, they will know what to create so that we can run for that. I can see NAP is down again, but Komabanga,
Yeah, okay, I'm very clear for everyone. Or my network in Namibia is not fine. Am I audible enough for everyone? Am I audible enough, or you are not hearing me?
Yeah,
please
we are putting 100%, which means we are hearing you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Actually, I've been just listening and following since they started this space has been there. What I have just a few things to share. Actually, there are a lot of things that we are seeing happening in Zimbabwe, and I've been there. I went for voting from Namibia, this side, northern part, and I only to drive and go and cast my vote. Then I had to come back. The situation in Zimbabwe is not fine, and everyone is now a victim of any situation. But what I suggested that is good for us is to keep ourselves from other issues that are discussed in some other issues. I believe myself as a CC member, just a member, I believe some other things that we end up discussing on some spaces that are being controlled or hosted by those whom we think they are part of us. We should just see. Yes, I know in politics we have to discuss and other things we have to discuss, but we need to guard ourselves from listening some other spaces which actually would come and say, why does Jamis have this? Why does this not have this? I think my only advice to ourselves is we need to guard ourselves from that, because we end up having diluted information that we will fail to reach our goal and our objectives to change the country and to make things work for everyone. So it does not make sense for us to join those arguments where some people that we really see, like I once joined somewhere, there are these batteries and what, it's not really worth. I try to look at how actually even during when ZANU MPs in the 60s, when they're planning their everything, one way during on the other forefront and others were doing other things and others were doing other things. So I believe that the administration or the leaders who are there on our party, CCC, on our movement, should do other things. And us, yes, we need to defend, but we need to be so vigilant of anything that comes, because we are all vulnerable. And now the situation that is on ground, really, especially in Gokwe, the far there, things are not fine. I would suggest that to some members like CC MEP and others that we've been working together with for a time, it's our time now again to come back together, focusing on 2028 areas that actually we know they need us. Let's have balls in those areas, like what we've been doing during the campaigning and whatever. Let's have our balls, let's have everything. Let's prove ourselves, our visibility should be there until if everything is on the other way, but let's have that focus, let's have our visibility there. Let's still push on regardless of time for campaigning. Sometimes we end up running late. My view is everything has been dusted while the courts or other things may be done. Let's not lose focus. Let's recruit. Let's try to convince. Let us make people believe that Zimbabwe is capable of anything. Really, if you come to Namibia, you see they have two mines, two gold mines. Back to Zimbabwe, every district there's gold everywhere. So we have the resources. But where we are failing is, who is failing in Zimbabwe? It's ZANU PF. Why are we, if you come here, things are not like what they are back home. Who is failing us? It's ZANU PF. So at least if we keep on selling the message, coming back to the ground wherever you are, do something. If you do something to your own village, tell them that everyone is needed for the change. Let's look at the situation of hospitals. Recently, we lost the prominent figures. All these things are just coming in our eyes while we are still seeing. Let's keep the focus. We ever try to do something that, if ever you are visiting Zimbabwe, tell 2 or 3 people to see the way we are seeing, not only for them to understand that we get t-shirts, we get what. Let's try to convince people for focus. Other things that needs leadership, let the leadership work on our behalf while we do the groundwork. We do everything that is so necessary for us to do and focus. Whatever the year the things will come up to be correct and to be good for us, it will be fine for everyone. We all miss home and we all need to go home. But the situation, you can't drive just from Victoria Falls. If you just left the airport, you are now in potholes until Wange. The situation is off the end. You can't drive to Lupani. We used to make a shortcut via Ngai. There is no more road. You have to go via Gweru to go to Gokwe. It's really a mess that ZANU-PF have done to us. So let's keep on trying to do the good things, the small things that we try to reach, and make those who do not see the need of a change. Let them see that we need to remove this ZANU PF regime and forever. That's my submission. You can lower me down there, then I'll be a speaker, but let's avoid listening to some other people and discuss other things. For me, I've decided myself, if ever I see this one, regardless of the good message or whatever, there's no good impact, should I say. I decided not to listen to them because they are already confused. They are suppressing people, and we want a change. Everyone is suffocating because of that.
Thank you so much, Banga, for that. Yeah, what you are saying is also what everyone else is saying. What I can say, maybe in my own opinion, is that 2028, it will be like Zimbabwe will be something like a country that will remain in political in elections mode. I think since 2018 we have been in the same state, and we cannot allow it to take 10 years of our time to keep ourselves in a elections mode where people will be campaigning throughout. We need to focus on the economy. We need to focus on building these hospitals. We need to focus on those minerals you were talking about. So it means that as a nation, we need to resolve whatever is there before we even say we need to move on. Because once we move on and things are in disarray, this what it means is that we are doing ourselves we are not doing ourselves any good, because the crisis will remain and will continue just like that. If it was not for the GNU in 2008, maybe things could have changed back then. But the GNU gave us a blanket that we thought maybe it's not cold out there, but now we are back in the forest again. We cannot continue saying that we have to continue campaigning until 2020. What about this crisis we are in? What about this election we are in now? What about this parliament? What about this constitutional crisis we are in now? How about solving it now? Then when we go to 2028, we know that we have done everything we could in 2023, and we left everything for 2023. In 2023, what as we approach 2028, we know that we won't have the same problems as the ones we saw in 2023 and earlier. I see we have a CCC NEP. Over to you, CCC NEP. Mama, may you please mute your mic in a moment. After CCC NEP, you will be able to unmute and say your contribution.
My brother changed radio. I hope you can hear me now.
I can hear you.
Hello? Oh, good. Hi, everyone. Everyone on the platform. It's good to be here. Thank you for this program. Of course, it's a very important topic today. I've been driving, so I couldn't come in sooner. But thank you for what you are doing. I think as citizens, we need to talk about what's going on in our country. And I think what we saw today, whatever people make of who this person is, what they are doing, the bottom line is the same, that we had a sham election. That's number one. Number two, we do have a cabal of citizens in Zimbabwe who have essentially captured all our state institutions, including the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, Parliament, the police, even the army, which is very unfortunate, where a few individuals are determining everyone else's destiny. I think what needs to happen is essentially, whoever this person is, whether it's real, whether it's fake, whatever, I actually hope this is fake. Because if it is fake, we are calling on the Speaker of Parliament's bluff. Okay? So the rules don't apply to Triple C only, they apply to ZANU PF as well, or any other party or any other independent in Parliament. So we need to be having our institutions working properly. What we have now is a banana republic. You cannot be Speaker of Parliament and just say anybody writes a letter to me and you take it for the gospel truth. So right now, that's what the Speaker and the President of the Senate have been saying. Well, I just have to accept the letter that's in front of me, and that's what I'm going by. If you are aggrieved, go to the courts, right? That's what they have said. So everyone is looking to see if that's how these guys are going to behave. The correct position is that as a Speaker of Parliament or President of the Senate, you don't just disregard the will of Zimbabwean citizens. Let's say for 1 second that whoever is doing these recalls, whether it's for Triple C or ZANU PF, was a genuine member. It doesn't work like that. Or even if you hold a position in that party, whatever your position is, I think that this is a weakness in our constitution as a country, where unfortunately some people who have always been causing problems for citizens instead of creating solutions, they take advantage of these loopholes. And we need that allowance to be adjusted so that if we feel that a member of parliament or a councillor is not performing in Zimbabwe, we, the citizens who voted for that councillor or member of parliament, can recall that councillor or member of parliament. But you don't just do it. You do a petition, you then meet a certain burden, and then there are elections. It's a proper process. We've seen this being done in other countries. The issue is not about the ability to recall members of parliament or councillors who are not performing or who have done something terrible that citizens are saying we have had enough of this. The issue is you just can't have anybody arrogating themselves to say, this is Dr. Ranga, so it means that I'm entitled to, for whatever grievances I may have in Triple C, I can go ahead and say, as the aggrieved member, I'm recalling A, B, C, D. If I feel like a member of parliament is not performing, I should convince other citizens that my cause is just. And when I do that, then we come together as citizens and we say, we are enough, we are the majority of this particular situation, and we want that member of parliament to be recalled. It's a process. You don't just say, inini, Professor Vandi Batabata or Mau Mau Vandi Batabata, so I'm going to do this. It's not right. I know it has been done, and I know right now the focus has been on Triple C yanga in a structure. This would not happen. Well, the last time I checked, this was happening Kuchine organization known as MDC, and now it's happening in ZANU PF, which is actually the ruling party or the government of the day for central government. So the bottom line is we as citizens have allowed these few people to make our lives miserable as Zimbabwean citizens. My sister, fortunately, I heard what you were saying earlier. We should never have a situation where if Dr. Ranga is having a bad day at home or at work, the way to resolve is to come and cause turmoil in our country. And that's what we have seen. So I think that when our president, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, told the Speaker of Parliament to reverse the mistake he made, the Speaker of Parliament should have taken action then. Because the Speaker of Parliament is not dumb. He is not stupid. He is a very accomplished lawyer who has been doing government work for a long time. So the fact that he can pick and choose what letters to accept, which letters not to accept, when to act, when not to act, is the problem. He is part of this problem. And the right thing for Mr. Mdenda to do is to just reinstate the members of parliament from Triple C, because we all know whatever happened was fake. An imposter writes a letter, the Speaker of Parliament accepts it. Get out of here. So that's what needs to happen. And I think now we're left with 9 days. If my counting is correct, we gave them 9 days as citizens of Zimbabwe. At some point, the courts need to realize that the legal system is about citizens. At some point, Parliament needs to realize that you are representatives of the citizens. We send you there. To be a Speaker of Parliament, we let you be the Speaker of Parliament. To be President, we let you be President, but be a responsible person. Don't be irresponsible. So I hope that whatever happens with this ZANU PF thing, it's clear to everyone. We can talk about 2028. We can always do better. Look, these guys find ways to always make life miserable for Zimbabwean citizens, which is why the CCC is saying, let's start afresh. Everybody knows that ideas. What we have allowed in Zimbabwe is a few people to abuse our state institutions, like you all know with the gold mafia. So the bottom line is, look, Mr. Mdenda, if you're listening, or if there are people here working for Mr. Mdenda, the right thing is just cancel that letter you sent to ZEC, correct your mistake, apologize to the parliamentarians who were beat up by riot police in parliament. That should never happen. We saw some incidents which equate to sexual harassment of our members of parliament in there because of what Mr. Mdenda initiated. That's what we need to focus on as citizens. What you do for CCC, you do for ZANU PF. And when you are in power, it doesn't mean you're a king or queen who does whatever they want with the republic. That's how revolutions start. So that's what needs to happen, my brother. I can go on and on. The bottom line is the citizens, no matter Dr. Ranga might be aggrieved, Professor Havana Gundi Moresa Msuya, so I'm very upset CCC doesn't work. It's okay for Dr. Ranga to be upset with Professor, but it's not okay for Dr. Ranga to then go ahead and tell the Speaker of Parliament to recall Professor Mapendele. No, that's wrong. I don't care. All of us here, as citizen representatives, we've been working in the spaces we occupy, in the diaspora, in Zimbabwe, in Namibia, in South Africa. So we can all be entitled. We could all say, I need Dr. Ranga. I don't know it's a president. So because I want to president, I'm pulling down the whole party, the whole country. It should never work like that. Because all of us, you can agree with me, all of you here, that you have been doing a lot of work, whether my donations, whether my spaces, UI, whether my tweets, whether my Facebook. We have been doing a lot of work, each of us, wherever we are. So none of us should feel entitled to say, because I'm aggrieved, I'm unhappy about how internal processes worked in ZANU PF or in CCC, now it means I need to do this. That's what justifies me doing this. Because everything is about citizens. Citizens didn't vote for Dr. Ranga. That's why Dr. Ranga cannot stand there and say, Ndini president. Because citizens didn't choose me. They chose someone else. So there are so many excuses that people use to justify what should never happen in a functional democracy, in a functional constitutional democracy, in a country where there's rule of law. We should not justify these actions. We should not be happening. So in Zimbabwe, let's put an end to this. That's what citizens are saying. If you don't listen to us, you have 9 days. You're going to hear from us. You're already hearing from us. And this is just the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CCC. Co-host, what did you say? Over to you.
No, I just wanted to emphasize the point that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So thank you so much, Dr. Ranga, for those words pregnant with wisdom, and I think we must appreciate, and I always repeat this, that we are where we are because of many problems that could have been avoided, not only now, but a decade ago, could have been avoided when our parents, ourselves, were singing Pamberina wa Mugabe, when we knew that we were doing that outside the constitution. And that's exactly what we did. I speak also in terms of we, like what Signore said earlier on. We did on the 17th of November 2017, when we marched onto the street, not knowing so it's exactly the mess that we are with now, that we are living with, and it shows that exactly what the former president was saying, that this man is not suitable for leadership, not only for leadership, talk less of leading a country, is not suited for that, and we can see the results. Lot of deceitful, lot of propaganda, lot of lies. 5 years come and gone, but now they are claiming victory in a Zimbabwe, in a country that does not have its own currency, but has got a reserve bank with a governor and the minister of finance. I don't know what those two people are doing. Anyway, let's hear from Champion Mao. Champion Mao, you can unmute yourself and come through.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you so very much. Let me start by just thanking all the speakers who have aired their contributions on this platform. Zvinhu zvinofadza chaizvo ende zvinhu zvatinoshuwira senyika kuti dai nyika yedu yasvika pekuti tinenge tichiwadzana. You want to believe that even pano paplatform tinogona kunge tine vemapato akasiyana siyana kusanganisira nebato reZANU PF. Kutarisa nhau iripo nemamiriro ayakaita, ndichimbotidzokerei kumashure mbichana. Pane vatauri vazhinji vataura zvinhu zvakanaka chaizvo, zvinori ndo zvatinokurudzira sevana veZimbabwe. In fact, ndo zvatangadai tichiita dai kuri kunzi nyika yedu iri kufambiswa zvakanaka. Mukatarisa platform ino tiri kutaura mune zvakanaka, hapana anonongedzera mumwe, hapana anotuka mumwe, hapana anosimudzira mumwe izwi. Ndo zvinofambisa nyika. Ndinodaira shamwari dzeduwo dziri kuZANU PF dzikakwanisa kuti dzimbonge dzichiteerera sematauriro atiri kuita pano. Tiri vana veZimbabwe, vamwe tinogona kunge tiri kunze kwenyika, vamwe tiri mukati meZimbabwe, but hazvitichinje kuti tinzi uyu haasi kana kuti ane ushoma kuve mwana weZimbabwe nekuti zvichida haana kurwa hondo sezvatinonzwa vamwe vachitaura. Hondo dzinorwiwa nenzira dzakasiyana siyana, uyezve hatisi kuda kuramba tichidzokera kuhondo. Hondo dzakatorwiwa dzakapera. Chavepo kwakuda kuendesa nyika mberi. Nyika haingaendeswe mberi nekuramba tichirwa hondo kana kuti tichitaura nezvekurwa hondo dzakarwiwa kare. Iroro idamba randinoonesa kuhama dzedu dziri kuZANU PF, with much respect, ndisingavashoropodze kana kuvashora, asi kuvaonesawo sevamwe vedu, sezvizvarwa zvimwe chete nesuwo munyika yedu yakasununguka. Ndiyo yega nyika yatinayo, uyezve nyika yakakomborerwa, nyika ine upfumi, nyika yakanaka zvikuru. Ndichitarisa pana ambotaura kuti kuNamibia there are only 2 gold mines. Ine ndakazvarwa kuMashonaland, pekuti mumunda mako chaimo igoridhe, pese pawafamba igoridhe. Muna Hangwa umo taifamba tichitsvaira nzira, kwete kuenda muriver kunonzi kuchikutuku kutsvaira nzira vanhu vachitonosefara goridhe rekuti vanoendesa vakanowana mapoints avo vachidi zvichireva kuti tine upfumi hwakanyanya zvikuru munyika zvekuti kutambura kwaakuita mwana wezimbabwe mune ranhasi kwaakuda kuti tibatane tese sevana vezimbabwe tiise musoro pamwe chete kuona kuti chatadzika chii. Ingazviri cherwa takapiwa ivhu riri muzimbabwe ivhu rakanaka zvikuru zvekuti kana ndakazvitarisa uchiri kompeya nekunana namibia kunana botswana, mhodzi yangoita mistake yekuwira pasi muzimbabwe inotomera. Zvasiyana nekunana botswana kwekuti unofanira kuti uvandudze ivhu ugorichireketera kuti rigokwanisa kuti rimedze mbeu inenge yawira pariri. Saka izvi zvese ndiri kuda kuedza kuti ndivhure maziso ehama dzedu dzinofungira kuti vamwe vakanzi vapa utongi hwekufambisa nyika vachadzorera nyika kumashure kana kuti nyika ikagozoenda kuvarungu zvigodii. Hazvisirizvo. Tinoda kuti tigadzirisane ipapo titeerere vamwe. Pane nhau yamboti taurwei ichitaura kuti ngatiendei kumaruva tigodzidzisa vamwe vagoziva kuti tiripo zvikozodii. Inhau yakanaka, handishore kana kuti handipokane nayo. Asi ndingangoti panguva yatiri inei zvaida kuti timirei zvishomanini, nekuti tikadaro taakuita kunge tapembedza utongi huripo kana kuti maitirwo ezvinhu aripo ekuti sarudzo dzinotadza kufamba zvakanaka dzombunyikidzwa. Kunyange venyika dzekunze vatinenge takoka vouya voona kuti izvi zvasiyana nezvatanga tichifungira, izvi hazvisirizvo, dai mafambisawo zvinhu zvenyu mune zvakanaka. Saka ngatirambei takatsika ipapo ndichinyanya kukandira nhau iyi kuutungamiri hwetriple C runori ndobato randinomiririra ini, ndobato rangu. Ndinoti dai taita kuti nhau iyoyo itange yaonekwa unzi inosvika papi tisati tafunga zvimwe zvikamu zvekuita. Hongu, handirambidze vanhu kuti tifanira kumhanyisa pfungwa mberi, asi tine mashoko anotaurwa nemutungamiri wedu Advocate Nelson Chamisa vachitaura ivo kuti zvinhu zvakuzonaka, pane zvavari kuronga, pane zviri kuitika zvavasingakwanisi kuti vatiburitsire nemashoko avo, ende vari right mukuita saizvozvo. Ndoda kuti ndikorektewo vamwe kana paine vasiri kunyatsopanzwisisa ipapo. Hazvigone kuti uri muhondo wotanga kutaura zvombo zvako kana kuti wotanga kutaura mastrategies ako auri kurwisana nawo newauri kurwa naye. Anobva akutoziva zvauri kuita agokwanisa kuzokutokumhanyirira mberi. Saka ngativei nekutenda muna Advocate Nelson Chamisa kuti pane zvavari kuronga zvichanakira mumwe nemumwe uyo anonzi chizvarwa cheZimbabwe, whether uri ZANU PF kana uri bato ripi, chero uri mwana wechizvarwa cheZimbabwe. Zimbabwe itsva iZimbabwe inonakira munhu wese, unlike Zimbabwe yatinayo yekuti it's just a few individuals vanozviti vari kunakidzwa muZimbabwe. Ukaona uchinakidzwa muZimbabwe kutaura chokwadi pari zvinezvi, which means uri kudivi iroro revashomanini vari kuita zvisina kunaka, zvinoita kuti munguva yekuti ruzhinji rwese ruri kutambura, iwo ndo munguva yako yaunoti uri kunakidzwa. Hapana chiri kunakidza munyika yedu so far, ende hapana chinombofa chakanakidza zvinhu zvikaramba zvakadai. Tiri kuda kunakidza kwekuti munhu wese ave anonakidzwa, anoona kunakidza kwezvinhu. Saka pane mashoko ataurwa akati wandei paboka rino, handandida kuti ndiedze kuti nditaure, saka mazhinji acho atorwawo nevataura kare. Asi chandoda kukurudzira ndechekuti tsamba iri kutaurwa nezvayo iyo, tochidzokera patsamba inori ndofunga ndoine donzvo renhau yanhasi yema-MPs eZANU PF ari kunzi they have been recalled. Ngatisakanganwai kuti ZANU PF ine hungwaru hwakaita sei mukuedza kuba especially sarudzo dzevana veZimbabwe, nekuti sarudzo idzi dzakabiwa hadzina kufamba zvakanaka. Kutaura chokwadi, ndisingashoropodzi kana kutuka umwe angangove anove offended nemashoko angu, asi kutaura chokwadi ndekwekuti sarudzo hadzina kufamba zvakanaka. Izvi kuti Zimbabwe fusion pachikamu chatakatarisana nacho chekuti sarudzo hadzina kufamba zvakanaka uye zvidzofana kuti dzifambiswe mune zvakanaka. Right now mukazvitarisa kuri kunyorwa tsamba iyo iri kunzi person azongomukawo kuZANU PF akasviti ndiye secretary general sei zita rake risina kutaurwa, nekuti tsamba yega yega inofanira kunyorwa iine zita remunhu. Saka ndiri kuona kunge vana veZimbabwe tiri kuda kuti tinzvengeswe pafocus yedu, tisafocus pazvinhu zvine basa tigomhanya taakufura kuti nekuZANU PF zvaitikawo, saka ngatichimborelaxai, tione kuti zvakamira sei chinechi. Saka ndinongoti kuleadership yedu yeCCC, intelligence yenyu ngaiinvestigate yeite interrogate that letter iri kunzi yanhingirikanwa iyoyo yazoita recall MPs eZANU PF. You'd find kuti maybe it's just a letter yangodraftwa naiyo ZANU PF pachayo kuda kuedza kuti nzvengesa njere dzedu tisafocuse panhau huru ine basa, nhau yekuti takabirwa vhoti yedu uyezve tofana kuti tinge tichiwaniswa vhoti sezvayanga iri, zvichiburikidza neboka reSADC, reAU nereEU avo vatakakoka kuti vauye kuzoonawo nekuongorora sarudzo yedu mukuitwa kwayo, vakazopawo zvavakaona umbowo hwekuti aiwa sarudzo hamuna kudzifambisa zvakanaka. Saka zvimwe zvese izvi, yes, we need to prepare for 2028 and we need to put our party in structures and what. Leadership yedu chandinoifarira, chandinoidira leadership inotonzwa zvatinotaura. Ndichiri kutondera advocate vachienda kumanyikaland, vakanoadresa mhuri yekumanyikaland vachitaura mashoko ekuti moda here kuti tiite zvakati, moda here kuti tiite zvakati, tauya kuzonzwa kwamuri nekuti tiri boka revanhu. Ende izvozvo zvinofadza, zvinotipa manyemwe tese sevana veZimbabwe kuti tazowana hurumende chaiyo inoenderana nezviriko munguva yatiri, hurumende chaiyo inotora pfungwa dzatinenge tinadzo ndodzinoshanda, kwete kuda kumbunyikidza pfungwa pavanhu. Kuri kuboka reZANU PF hauwane that platform yekuti leadership inoenda kuvanhu yonotora zvataurwa nevanhu youya yoimplementa izvozvo, hazviko. Mazvake chete tunoona kuti vamwe vakuzotora vana vavo vachivaita vatungamiri vemamwe maministerial positions and etc, zvigotounza kutonyunyikana kuritorimo mukati meboka rimwe chete iroro. Asi ndinongofara zvangu kuti isu vana veCCC tiri vana vaMwari, tinotya Mwari sezvinotaura mutungamiri wedu, chinhu chakanaka zvikuru. Hongu kungaita vanopokana nekuti kukudza Mwari kwakuzodzorera boka kumashure, kana kuti zvinangwa zvatanga takatarisana nazvo kumashure, aiwa Mwari ndiMwari, havafi vakachinja, hanzi zvavaive vari zuro ndozvavari nhasi, namangwana vanoramba vakadaro. So kurava kuti nhau yedu yesarudzo ina Mwari mukati, change iri kuuya. Ndosaka muri kuona vamwe vedu vari kuedza kuita zvakati, vagoedza zvakati, vagoedza zvakati. Dai pasina zvavari kuziva kutaura chokwadi, kungadai kwakanyarwa kuri ziva chingotonga sekutorawo kwavakaita chisimba. Asi vari kunyatsotoziva kuti aiwa tambo iyi rwendo runo havasi kuigona. I have that feeling and I know that I'm very much correct on that. God is in it and God is with us as Zimbabwean children. We have cried too long and God has finally heard our answers. I would want to leave you with the scripture Irimuna 2nd Chronicles chapter 20 verse number 20 going up. Now inoratidza vana vaJudha vasangana nedambudziko guru rakaita sehondo. Hondo dzabva kumapoka matatu kana kuti nyika nhatu dziri kuuya kuzorwisa vana vaJudha vachitungamirirwa naJehoshaphat. Vanosvika pekunzi vana vaJudha vakachema, vakatasana nehondo yekuti hondo yauya iyi hatiigone, zvinotoda Mwari. To cut the long story short, muchazonoverenga mega mascriptures iwayo. 2nd Chronicles chapter 20 verse number 20 going up. Mwari vanozoudza vana vaJudha kuburikidza nemuprofita kunzi hongu maita zvakanaka, hondo haisi yenyu, hondo ndeyangu saMwari. Hondo iyi hamusi kuzoirwa semafungiro amuri kuita, asi chindirumbidzai saMwari wenyu. zvinori ndo zvandiri kuona zviri kuitika munyika yedu yezimbabwe nedzimwe nyika dzakatitenderedza muzvizvarwa zvezimbabwe. Tachema taturira dambudziko redu kuna Mwari. Mwari vazosvika pakutidayira. Kudayirwa kwataitwa naMwari ndiko kwekuti mazuva achateera muchaona zvinhu zvichichinja. Kuchinja kwezvinhu kunooneka mundima dzandataura dziri mubhaibheri idzodzo, kuti Jehoshaphat anozonzi chiisai vaimbi mberi, praise and worship, vagorumbidza Mwari. Mwari pavanorumbidzwa ndopavanouyawo ivo pachiitiko. Vakarumbidzwa Mwari vakauya pachiitiko, ndopasemuenzaniso wekuti ngatiti Botswana, Namibia neSouth Africa dzaungana dziri kuda kurwisa Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe yonziyo ngaichiisa vaimbi mberi vepraise and worship, ana makanika manyeruka, ana UFC choir and what. Panorumbidzwa Mwari kudaro, Mwari vanobva vaita kuti mapoka ari kuuya kuzorwisa Zimbabwe vatange kufungirana pachavo, vagorwisana ivo pachavo kusvikira vaurayana vakapedzana vasati vauya kuzorwisa vana veZimbabwe. Saka ndo zvandiri kuda kuudzai vana veZimbabwe kuti ini ndanga ndakatarisa nawe from a spiritual perspective. Tikaona ZANU PF yakaita G40 nehanzi Lacoste whatever amene manzita vanodedzerana nawe waya, kutopatsanuka kwakaita ZANU PF nepakati, nekuti mwana weZimbabwe akanga achema, ende kuchema kwacho kwakanzwikwa naMwari. Saka tichiona ZANU PF icharwisana yega iyo kusvikira pashaya kamumwe chete watichanongedzera kuti this is ZANU PF or this was once a ZANU PF. Change is coming. Change is coming. And kuuya kwechange ngatisave isu tinosiwa tiri in confusion nevavo vasiri kunyatsoziva zvokurongwa naMwari, nevavo vanogara vari vekungopikisa nekuda kuunza confusion mukati menjere dzedu. Ndati tsamba iyo yakanyorwa iyo ngaiongororwe tonoti yanyorwa here nevanhu vekuti zveshuwa ndiye secretary general wacho sezviri kurehwa. Onai kuti tsamba iri kunzi yakanyorwa veCCC inenge ine munhu ari kunzi ndiye akainyora. Iyi yeZANU PF iri kunzi a man. According to what I read on this platform, it's just say a man calling himself SG weZANU PF. So let us investigate tinyatsoona kuti chokwadi chenyu nawi chiri papi, tisangofadzwe nekuda kuconfuswa nevanhu vatiri kuziva kuti ndo maitiro avo and at the end vanenge vaine zvavari kuda. Apa chandiri kuona ndechekuti vari kuda kutenga nguva kuti isusu tinge tichifadzwa nezvimwe zvinhu zvisina nebasa rese, toluza focus yezvatiri kufanira kuti timhanyisane nazvo. Saka ndoda kusiyirawo vamwe mukana kuti vapindewo nenhauwo tinzwewo kwavari, but mune zuva ranhasi ndochimirira ipapo. Ndinotenda zvikuru nekundipawo mukana kwamaita kuti ndinge ndichicontributawo pagroup.
Right, thank you so much, Mukoma Mau. Just to inform you, the letter ine munhu akainyora and zita racho riripo, and akatoisa salutation pasi peleta, mukatedza tsamba yacho pasocial media munoiona. Munyori wetsamba iyoyo anonzi iye Tafadzwa Manyika, so ndiye akainyora nyaya iyo yose. So munhu wacho aripo. Regai tinzwe kuna Mukoma Murozvi, ndisati ndapa Mukoma Dops. Regai tinzwe Mukoma Murozvi, muri kuti kudii Mukoma?
Thank you, Change Radio. Thank you, Change Champions. Mukoma Dobbs, Mukoma Washington, Dr. Ranga, Isi Patricia, Mese Makadaro. Kana pane vezano vanenge varipo, tine rudo rwekukumhoresa ivo. Chero imwe nguva kazhinji musina rudo rwekukwanisa kuwadzana nesu. Muchadzidzawo nerimwe remazuva. Pane zvinhu zvakandinakidza svondo rapera kusvika svondo rino. Ini ndiri kuNorth America, NAP. Taakupinda musizeni yechando. Saka izvinezvi vanhu vari kumhanyidzana nekutsvaga madhasi, nekuti kana chasvika vanhu vanenge ngoenda nacho chando vachitadza kufamba kana uri panze. Ndakanzwa our dear leader vachitaura kuti kana ZIP yatadza kubatana mapato ayo inoda kuti igadziriswe kuti ivhare. Ikasagadziriswa ndopaunoona kuti kukanganisika kweZIP kunokuunzira dambudziko rekutonhorwa, saka inofanira kuti igadziriswe. Kukanganisika kwenyika yedu, kukanganisika kwepolitical landscape munyika yedu yemunhu mutapa kwakutikonzera kuti tinge tichitambura. Ndinotaura chii ndichitaura kudaro? Thank you mukoma Mau mabva kutaura nevamwe vese tiposinapo. Vanotaura chivanhu vanoti ane bhora ndiye anomakwa. Zuro ndizuro vatsvangirai vanga vakamakwa, tikapinda mumaelections akawanda, tikaona zvinhu zvichitadza kufamba kusvika papoindi yokuti vamugabe vakati aiwa ini ndadyiwa natsvangirai, ndakugadzira mabhegi avo anga atopekwa. Izvi takatozvitaurirwa nadambudzi, aitaura kuti mabhegi emukuru anga atopekwa. Ndikataura namai ndikati mai ndipei baba nditaure navo, hakuna kwamuri kuenda. Ndobva taona zvatakaona kuti vanhu vakaurawa. Ndobva zvatidzorera 1982-83. Ndobva zvatipa futi mifungo yekuti saka zvinhu zvakaitika 82-83 ndo zvadzokorodzwa izvi. Saka zvinotaurei? Vana veZimbabwe vanoziva mhinduro, vanoziva zvakaitika, vakuandastenda kuti zvinhu zviri kubva kupi zvichienda kupi, nekuti tine dzidzo dzacho dzekuva vanhu vaexperiensa zvinhu zvacho. Ndo dzidzo yedu yatawana kubva mazviri. Now 2018 ndotanga pa 2017 pane vagona kutaura chivanhu kuti vanhu vakapemberera n'anga yakazobata mai vayo. 2018 ndobva taona zvakaitika. 2023 taona zvinhu zvaitika zviri pachena, kwete kuti zvarambwa neTCC, aiwa zvarambiwa neSADC historical, hazvina kumboitika. Takaona vakuru veSADC vachinetsekana kuti vapinde mubhox rekutambira marizauti esarudzo yemuZimbabwe. Ndobva vataura kuti aiwa hazvina kuitwa zvakanaka. African Union, it has never happened. Takaona vachitaura zvinhu zvimwe chete. Takabva taona moto kuwanzwa, tikaziva kuti chando chauya, ZANU yawanza moto nekutumidzira vanhu vayo kuenda pasocial media kana kuenda kunana Zambia kwacho, kunge vachiunganidza vanhu vachivataura zvavanenge vachida. Poindi ndeyekuti nyaya yekuitwa chikukuvatavata neZANU pandiri kuirambira pataurwa nevakuru vabva kutaura pano. Dare handisi kutaura zvinhu zviri vivid panapa, because I don't believe in that. Kana muchitonga matare pane nyaya dzinotaurwa pamatare, pane nyaya dzinozotorwa madhara nana vahosi vemusha. Pana championi vataura nyaya yekuti ngatiremekedze mukuru wedu advocate Chamisa, nekuti zvinhu zvavari kuita kubackground nevavanoshanda navo zvinhu zvikuru zvaita kuti Zimbabwe ikwanise kunzi neSADC, neAU, neEuropean Union, neUnited Nations, Carter Foundation, sarudzo dzanga dziri shambolic, hadzina kuitwa zvakanaka. izvozvo chiratidzo kwatiri tese macitizens, including vanhu vezanu vakateerera vari muno, kuti advocate commitment yavo, whether inini yandakanzwa vachitivimbisa tese tese, wherever patinoshanda tiri, kuti I will not let down the citizens. That has encouraged me and most of my colleagues vana sitting up, vana Chief Soswe, vana Job South Africa, vana Marufu, and many of you, we are encouraged by that. Why are we encouraged? Normally, advocate vanotaura kuti mukandipa Lamborghini kana rusununguko rusati rwasvika kuvanhu, I'm not going to take that Lamborghini. And it has been happening. Kupoladi vanokwanisa kunge vakadya, but vakati kwete ndinomira nevanhu vatambura nekuti ndo zvavari kuchema, which is exactly what our icon Changirai did. So is the leader that the people are crying for. Saka zvandiri kukumbira ndezvokuti maleaders mese muri pano, ndandida kuti ndipasane zvinhu zvakawanda, but the reason yandisingadi kuti nditaure zvinhu zvakawanda ndeyekuti chidembo hachizirwe pane vanhu. Ndinotaura kakawanda. Zvinoita vanhu veregimu yeZANU, zvinhu zvese zvavanoita kubvira mazuva ataenda kumapungwe kuma70, vanofamba nekunzwa kuti mumaraini vanhu vari kuvafidza kuti inyaya yei iri kuitika, ndiani mutengesi, ndiani ari kuita zvinhu zvekuti, then vodhira nenyaya iyoyo. We are the people who have led the struggle. We must lead it today. Democracy yatinoti democracy tikaiwanza zvakanyanya nekutadza kuteererana kuti zvimwe zvinhu hazvitaurwe ipapo. Macitizens ari kuUK, macitizens ari kuMiddle East, kuAustralia, kuNorth America, kuSouth Africa, kuNamibia. Munozivana kuti tiwine tise maMPs akawanda muparliament izvozvi zvakanetsa, not just isusu vanhu vemuZimbabwe kana nevezanu vacho, but the international community. Isu tichinzi hatina mastructures. Then they realize kuti we are well organized, we are well oiled. That's why I'm challenging each and every one of you to go back to your platform and let us unite one way or another. I'm not going to say how, but we're going to find each other. Whoever is in North America, in Australia, in South Africa, in Namibia, in Botswana, in the Middle East, in China, we know each other. We must represent ourselves as the citizens of Zimbabwe. We have suffered long enough at the expense of a bunch of greedy, incompetent, cruel few. So I just wanted to say, masamba ese ari kunyorwa, vakuru vari kudhila nazvo, ngatisashandiswa, hakuna zvinhu zvakadaro. Kana zviriko, let's see how they are going to act on this later. But it is not our business as my citizens, especially vasiri ku protocol yekutungamirira zvinhu. It is being dealt with very closely, very effectively. Let's support. Last but not least, I've been talking to our citizens, our champions in South Africa, who are putting together a demo because we are not happy. When it happens in Zimbabwe, they started to shoot people with live bullets. That's the doing of a rogue regime. Let's support that. Most of us here, we are going to be seeing that flyer. Let's share with all our South African family members, friends, so they attend at the Union Building. It is our responsibility to come together and fight, and we must do it effectively. The happiness is not far. It is very, very, very close. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Bamroji, for that long presentation. Something to take home. You know, when Hansi Panitsmoyot anoraiva mwana wamangu Muranda Terera, it's a word that we all need to understand the situation the country is in, and we reflect on it as citizens and know how we have to deal with the situation because you know that we are living and time is passing. So to say that when there's a crisis like this, or whenever we do an election, we just say, it's okay. Sadiq said it was sham. Other observer missions said it was sham. Then we just say, no, we have to move on. We have to wait for another 5 years, or we have to do this. But people are losing lives. That's the truth of the matter. People are losing lives. The generations are being lost. Like I remember in 2008 when President Shanghai was saying that these children you are seeing here, by then he was referring to the youth who were there. They haven't been employed. They haven't seen a payslip. By then, it seems like, or it may be, if to those who were listening, it was something that many could not understand. But now, 15, 20 years later, those people are now reaching 50 years of age, 40 years of age. It's true that the country has been in the same economic crisis for the past 10, 15 years. And those people, if they were 35, they already lost more than half of their life. And where in a country where you have 68 minerals, but they are living a life where you say, it's something where you don't know, or you are not doing anything that is reliable. You are not working, you are not doing anything, you are not doing a business. If you are doing a business, it's something where you can just wake up, maybe you have your $20 in the bank account, then you are being told that it's now a gold coin, it's now a zig, it's now a it's now something. Then it loses value maybe to 20% or 10%. Then in that case, you find that all other businesses, all other services are being paid in US dollars, but only yours, you who is working, who is doing business outside government, you have the local currency, but the government itself, it doesn't take the money in local currency. If they are to take, they tell you that we use the prevailing rates on the same day. They charge everything in US dollars. They give you an opportunity to pay using the prevailing rate if you are paying in local currency. So all that, the government itself doesn't have confidence in the currency. In the currency they are creating. So it's something people have to think deep about, and where we are coming from, where we are going as a people and as a nation. I see we have a new speaker, Champion Patricia. How are you? Can you hear me? Fabian Patricia, are you there? Co-host, can you hear me?
Hear you. I can hear you. Yes. But Sister Patricia, I think she has to unmute herself and speak.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm having such problems today, but good evening, good morning, good day to everyone on the space, and thank you so much, Change Radio, for putting this space on. I think it was really important that we gathered to share our views on what's happening in Zimbabwe. There's a saying that is goes like this: it's gone to the dogs, and I think that Zimbabwe at the moment can be described like that. It's a bit of a jungle. It's a lawless jungle. So when I was coming from work, I was thinking about the times in our world many centuries ago where there wasn't laws and everybody just did what they wanted when they wanted, and there was nowhere where people could go and report the harm that was being caused to them or the inequalities or the challenges that they were facing. And we find ourselves in this modern society where we have a constitution, where we supposedly have laws, the judiciary, the police, and all of those things, but nothing seems to work in Zimbabwe. And we know why. It is because the current regime wants to hold on to power by whatever means, and they have turned the country into a lawless jungle. And it's really sad to watch. And I think for the people on the ground, I can just imagine their hopelessness, that feeling of hopelessness of where do we go? What do we do? You can't go to the police, because if you go to the police, they won't act. The police are afraid. They've no power. You can't go to the courts because the courts are captured. There is really nowhere to go. It almost feels as if we are in a prison. There's this sense that, we are in a prison and we're the walking dead, so to speak. If you've ever watched movies, those movies about zombies, and you see the walking dead walking everywhere, with limbs broken, with everything falling apart. I think that's the sense that one gets about Zimbabwe. And this recall letter, I think, in my view, the speaker has to respond to that. They can't wish it away. That's not our problem. They cannot wish it away. They need to respond to it, whatever it is, in the same way in which they responded to the fake CCC recalls by a fake and non-existent interim SG, or someone who calls themselves the interim SG for the CCC. That is how they need to respond to this recall. And I think all eyes and all ears are on Mudenda, and we hope that he does act. But I suspect that what he is going to do is dismiss it. He's going to dismiss it. He will not write to ZEC, and ZEC will act on the letter that he wrote about the recalls of the 15 CCC MPs. And that is because they want that majority in Parliament. I think they were shocked that one of their favorites, the failed finance minister, lost. I think that didn't go down well with them, and they hatched this plan of the recalls, and they bought this shabangu. Whatever it is that went on behind the scenes is really not for us to speculate. But we want to see fairness and equal ways of treating issues when they arise in the manner in which they have arisen with these recall letters. There is so much that is going on Twitter. You know, the ZANU PF camp, so many letters that are being written by whoever these people are, calling themselves the interim SG and whatever else. And we also see Shabangu, clearly a sellout, doing all that he can to destroy the CCC with the help of the regime. So we mustn't forget who is at the top of all of this. Shabangu is a scapegoat. He's been used, and the focus is on the ZANU PF regime. They are the perpetrators of everything that is not working in our country, from our economy, from the abuse of human rights, from the arrests and the imprisonments. It is the abuse of power is what we are seeing happening in Zimbabwe. I was just reading something on Twitter, you know, some of the arrests that are happening towards our CCC members. And one of the accusations on the police docket was that a member of the CCC had slapped someone on the shoulder twice, and apparently they meant to harm him seriously by those 2 slaps on the shoulder. And I could just not imagine where in the world this type of nonsense would be tolerated other than in our country, because the regime are using the power of the gun. They are using violence, and we are not a violent people. We will not resort to that type of violence that they are provoking the citizens to rise up, because this is what they are doing. They are provoking us into rising up, and they'll get the army to slaughter people. But just going back to the Bulawayo scenario, you know, this is the same area where, you know, if we remember in the early 80s, where people from Matabeleland were slaughtered by Mnangagwa, Terence Shiri, and Chiwenga. So they were the 3 that led the massacre of 20,000 innocent Zimbabweans. And at the time, they sold us a dummy. They told us that they were dissidents. And people believed them. The world believed that they were dissidents, because that's the story that they told us. I was young, but I understood what a dissident meant. And it was a scary time, because they told that those dissidents could come at any time and slaughter everybody. And actually, it was a lie. You know, nearly 43 years later on, it's a tragedy that happened in our country. It's a war crime, and they're perpetuating different types of crimes towards that very people from whom they slaughtered, and so much blood was spilled. So they've gone back in there, and they have taken away the people's voice. They have recalled representatives that were chosen by people. And it's 20,000 people that were murdered. So, you know, multiply family members, how many thousands more of their family members are alive today? And they would have been told the stories. They would have been shown the photographs, the image of the brutality that happened in the early 80s when their family members were slaughtered. And then fast forward to 2023, the very same ZANU PF, led by the very same people who led the slaughter of innocent people, is back in there again on a different slaughter mission of removing people's voice, taking it away from them, and basically telling them that they don't matter. They don't care about those people. I think it's going to be one of the saddest things that we are witnessing in our country today. And we cannot allow that to happen. We cannot allow the hatred that is placed on President Chamisa. You know, the everyday attacks, because this is what it is. It's an attack on a man that won an election, presidential election in 2018, won a presidential election in 2023. SADC and that report was just clear demonstration of the power that he has, and it is that power that they are trying to take away from him. And I think my message to the regime is that your days are numbered. They can't do this forever. It is going to end. It will end one day. And usually these things end when what they're trying to get us to do happens. So, provoking us to rise up is probably what's going to end up happening, because people have had enough. Enough is enough. Even people within ZANU PF voted. They didn't vote for him. They did not vote for that man to be president. They didn't want him. I had a young man say to me, my family are ZANU PF to the core, but I would wear the CCC t-shirt. He's a student. He would wear the CCC t-shirt and he would hide his face and go out there. And, when they were doing those flash protests, he would be part of those flash protests. And his family as ZANU PF core, he told me, they've always been and they'll always be, I think. And then when he went to cast the vote, he cast the vote for President Chamisa and so many other young people and older people that are within the ZANU PF structures or the ZANU PF party didn't vote for Mnangagwa. And we all know that. But, what a day to behold, to continue to see the injustice that is happening in our country, and that they will never change. I don't think they'll ever change, because they have so much. They own the country, so a few handful of people own the country. Now his son is in parliament, the other one is in the army. You can take a guess what that means. You can take a guess what that means. So they are trying to make this a family affair. And soon we are going to be one of those countries where the father dies and then the presidency is passed to the mother, and then the deputy is passed to the son, and then that's it. It's the Mnangagwa family playground. And we shouldn't accept it. It's unacceptable. It's wrong. And to Mudenda, he needs to act upon those recalls of those 70 MPs. That's his problem in his office. We want fairness. We want him to treat it in the same manner that he treated the fake CCC recalls. Thank you, host. I'll stop there for a minute.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for that. I think what you said is very important, especially when you said that we need to see the same response they gave to the policy for change, they have to do it to all other complaints or other letters they receive. I just wanted to say something that is off topic. I see that the Citizens Coalition for Change MP for being not, if I'm not mistaken, for being not Honorable Prince Tuneko. He was also recalled. He is the one who was sworn in on the same day, same session, and recalled. So they sworn him in so that they can recall him. So this is what is happening in Zimbabwe. It's just like that. So he has called. He announced that there is a peaceful demonstration in Bulawayo on the 28th of October. I think it's on a Monday, and so you can go to his timeline. There is the poster he posted, and the demonstration will be peaceful and demonstration by citizens demanding inclusive dialogue to deal with the SADC election, SADC election observer mission report conclusions and the reversal of unlawful recalls of MPs and councillors. observer missions spoken that the outcome of the elections do not reflect our will as do not reflect our will as citizens. The church has spoken about the outcome of the elections and unlawful recalls. The business leaders have spoken about the outcome of the elections and the recalls. It's only us, the electorate, that he has not said anything. So what he is actually saying is that the electorate has to speak out. Those who voted, they have to stand up and say, no, Mugenda, what these political parties are saying is not what we want, is not what we think should be happening. Sadiq said the election was failed, the election failed to fulfill the requirements of the Electoral Act of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, also failed to fulfill the requirements of the principles and guidelines of SADC that govern the democratic elections in the member states of SADC. So what we are saying now is the electorate is that we have to resolve this issue, this crisis as the citizens. So this is what the demonstration here is saying. That's what I just wanted to say about the demonstration. You can go to his timeline, check that flyer. We have a new speaker, Dobbs and Zix. So now I will go to Dobbs, then after Dobbs will go to Zix, then we'll come back to CCC. Over to you, Dobbs.
Many thanks, Hosti and others on the space. I think our problems remains our problem. This is where they are recalling. It might be a sideshow to make us just see as if they've got such a problem in ZANU PF. But we understand in terms of Uchaba, CCC doesn't have such problem. This is the problem which they are creating inside CCC. So we don't have to analyze it a lot to say what are they likely to do, because we know that apart from that, that the elections were not free and fair and credible. On that report, it has been mentioned to say they don't follow our own constitution, to say our government doesn't follow its constitution. So what would we accept from the recalling on parliament? To say, are they going to follow the law? Well, it is in law that the government doesn't follow the law. Even if we take it to court, we know what would happen, to say the courts are kept shut. So this is one of the sideshow which they might throw to divert attention to the people, to say they must stop whatever they want, and then hope to say even in ZANU PF some will be recalled. While we know that it's within the ZANU PF itself whether they wanted to recall them or not. But the way how I see it, I don't think they are going to recall, because some of those people named, they've lost in the elections, like Barbara Rhodes. So they don't stand any chance if they go for rerun. They have to arrest the opponent, the winner, on free speech charges. That is why that one, Chesa, was spending almost a month in Wawa for a crime, for no crime, and is not being tried. Is just being put on remand. And we know that there's no evidence to try him. We know what was on play was to stop him to challenge through even legal means. The evidence was there, but Barbara wanted to just destroy those ones. So they hope that they will be recalled. I don't see it happen. I see them just dragging it. They might recall. If they recall, it will be temporary, where they use the courts to bring them back, not for them to come back through by elections. I don't foresee it. In any case, even if we go for by elections, we haven't addressed a lot of issues to do with this ZEC and the way our elections are done in Zimbabwe. And what matters most, where they are diverting us now to say we are thinking about this matter, what matters most is the recommendations and the reaction from ZANU PF-led government is that they are going to cherry pick. But we know what happened before. They have never picked any reform from the recommendation in 2018. There were a recommendation from observers in 2018. There were recommendations from Mahlonde Commission, which we hired using taxpayers' money, but they did not implement any recommendation. When their recommendation, what they have done, they were just cosmetic. They don't even make any significant change. Even those ones who are abroad are not even allowed to vote up to now. So we should be focused on those issues to say those are the ones which you should be demanding, not on this one only where they just recall, after recalling, because it's ZANU PF who have recalled CCC MPs, then they pretend to be recalling their own, knowing that they might not even implement the action, but they are understanding the pressure to say people are not happy, and they understand what is happening in Mozambique, so they want our pressure to go a bit down instead of boil over. But we have been preparing for ZANU PF to deal with them. Some of us, we don't have that patience to wait for 2028. And we can't wait for 2028 because it's a done deal. If there are no reforms, 2028 is just repeating 2023, where the executive is going to announce the winner. So what we have to understand at the moment is to say, if we don't pressure them to do the reforms, and if we don't pressure them to revisit the 2023, we are not going anywhere with this ZANU PF. And that is what they are trying to do, to run away, to escape that pressure from us. But we are not going to do that. We will put those pressure. We understand to say they've marked our leaders. CCC elected officials are being arrested left, right, and center. Those ones who were agents, they are being denied any benefit in being from government. Or they are being isolated everywhere. Some of them are having their hearts being banned, some offer letters being withdrawn. So we have analyzed it and see to say it's not, these people are just after retaining power and it's now slowly becoming a family affair. I heard somebody saying, Mnangagwa and his family is there. You can extend even to the senators who have been appointed. They are all related. It's those who is being appointed in cabinet and government posts, like that brother of Enuta. You can then go to those who are in chief's council. Ni senators, chiefs, they're all related to Mnangagwa and his missus. So the whole thing is being a family affair because maybe because they don't trust anybody outside. But to think that they are going to change without keeping them pressure, they will be joking. We know that any demonstration will be killed. We can't argue people to say go on the street and demonstrate. We find it very difficult. And to just open that mouth to say go on the street. If somebody is in Zimbabwe, I guarantee you will be arrested. We will have that repeat of Jacob Ngarubu, who said let's have a peaceful demonstration, but then it was interpreted to say it's incitement to commit public violence, which is strange in Zimbabwe. To say they misinterpret law to just suit themselves. But nevertheless, we are not going to just lay our heads and deny to say we can't do anything because Mnangagwa kills, Mnangagwa arrested, because at the moment, we are being killed anyway. We are being arrested anyway. We can talk about how many people are dying with the cholera at the moment. They are not even, they don't want you to know. They're eating. They just have that number. They don't want you to display it. It is those people who are being displayed from farms which are owned by ZANU PF elite, which are now being repossessed by ZANU PF elite. Some of them have lived for 20 years, and some of them are ZANU PF, are not happy about anything. Those ones who work in mines, they are underpaid, and there's lots of disasters. And when there's those disasters, the government just denies the responsibility and take them to be Makorongosa, or at least they work under contract. They've got one where they supply. They've got what do they call him? What do they call him? They usually call him a sponsor, but that is where they sell to. They can't sell to any other one. And that sponsor is the one who determines the conditions and the price. But those were the ZANU PF chefs, but they deny their responsibility. So we can't just wait while this is that country is being destroyed to such an extent. We can know the white gold is having express now. We don't know who control it, but they don't stop. Those trucks transporting the lithium are not stopping at the border. They just go through without being checked, escorted at times, and go through the border without being checked. So we have decided with other citizens, other progressive Zimbabweans, to say we cannot just act, just wait. We have to act. We have communicated, we have written emails on Twitter to ZANU PF, but they don't respond. If they respond, they just pretend to say they will do something, or even promise a promise which will end up as a promise. So we have decided this time to say on the 26th, we are going to close the border, the Bite Village border post. And we want that effect to be felt across the Limpopo. That is our aim. And we have obtained the permission from the South African government and other government agencies within South Africa related. We applied to Bite Bridge for demo. They said they can't. They started wanting to accuse us to be CCC or whatever, but we told them that we are just a progressive Zimbabweans. We are all inclusive, including other members of ZANU PF, but they did not want you to understand. They wanted to paint, to create a scenario where they can arrest those ones who are leading CCC. So we understand to say, no, we are not that type. If they wanted to chase after us, they can chase after us, because we are the ones who have decided to do that. So we are coming with other programs. It's not going to be as usual to say if they think that they would just divert people's attention until 2028, this time they will have to chase after people again, because they don't respect us. We feel we are the ones who have voted. We are the ones who have supported the candidates. We have supported voters to get registered. But when we vote, they don't respect. Even some of the people who have won elections are not in parliament. Those who have lost are the ones who are in parliament. The one who is supposed to be a president is not a president. The loser is the one who is a president. But apart from that, they went on to withdraw other people within a month. Then we realized to say these people, they don't respect the voter, because they're just showing us a middle finger to say, you can vote whatever you want. We are going to withdraw him or her and replace with ours. We are not going to accept that. We have communicated to them straight to the parliament to that. If you wanted to display the letter, it's up to you. But we have communicated to say we are not too happy about it as voters, not as citizens. We want somebody whom we voted to stay there for 5 years. Whether he performs or he underperforms, that is how it is. He have got that 5-year mandate. So because of that, we have gone back to say we don't recognize those elections. They were not free, fair, and credible because they were they are doing. So we will take a series of action. Some of them will just let the ZANU PF when we are ready to take them. Some of them will never. We'll just tell them after we have taken them. But all of them are lawful. Whether they wanted to misinterpret it to say those laws are unlawful, it will be up to them. We don't care now. We have reached that point where we said we don't care. The fact that they can intimidate to say we will be arrested, we will be killed. People are being arrested and being killed without committing any offense. And those who have made us are out. Those who have made us they are out. They are not being tried. Pius Njambo is out now. He's not being tried. And it took us to use technology for them to come out. If we did not use that, the satellite to investigate that area, we would never know to say who is involved. It was because of that. What they do in response, they've now banned that use of satellite to say if you wanted to use it to collect any information, you have to apply, because they wanted to control us. They wanted to hide a lot of information, a lot of criminality which they do. So we understand whom we are fighting for. But now this time we are ready. We don't have any option. Some of us, we have seen that we don't have any option. They might come up with this child to play issues where they pretend to say they are recalling some people, so that people's temperatures, they go down and do that ABCD. But we've never listened to them. We'll continue doing what we wanted to do, and to that time when they are ready for free and fair election. And to that time when they are ready to deliver service which they are supposed to be delivered, rather than what they are doing to say they are simple routine and removing the parliamentary from to scrutinize the executive. We have to go to those things which are happening at the moment to say we have Mutapa Sovereign Wealth Fund, which which we just know to say is Mutapa Sovereign Wealth Fund. We don't know how many millions and how many billions. And those 20 companies, they haven't been audited to say how their value. We don't even know them. But they are now being controlled by the first family. Whoever going to be given tenders, we don't even know, and the parliament is excluded from it because that Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act means that the first family can just sell those assets. They can sell a post office building. They can sell a railways building or an Air Zimbabwe building, which is abroad, and it will end like that. By the time we know, we won't be able to do anything. So we have a lot to fight for, rather than to just being diverted with this issue where the recall servant, and we never know, maybe by tomorrow they will tell us it's a fake recall. But it's time to act for us. Let's act. I have a coffee link which is on my profile. If there's anybody who just wanted to support a BT, but I think
I told them it is not worth a penny to engage them. But I must do that I must do to dislodge them. How I dislodge them is to do the work that I need to do, that they see they are irrelevant to the whole process. And we must all do that. It's a waste of time to engage ZANU-PF, because once you engage them, they always, no matter how sincere you are, they will undermine you, they will trash you, they will destroy you, they will brutalize you, they dehumanize you, they do anything and everything. So it is not worth it. Lately, that Mnangagwa should actually start comedy in Zimbabwe. He's making comedy in front of the people who are suffering, and the people that just go and make money, don't worry about anything else. And this is exactly what we see in the people like Muchangwa in Victor the other day. When he was well educated by the likes of Chanakil, and he was mocking Chanakil with whatever, whether it is a $200 million bank business. He was mocking him for that. And Chanakil was saying, what are you doing so that we can also make those billions? So let us give them exactly what they deserve. Let us not engage them. Let us sideline them, do our thing, and they see they are irrelevant in the whole process. They are not worth anything to the long-suffering people of Zimbabwe. That's pretty much what I can say for now. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Co-host, are you there?
I'm still here.
You can take off, maybe say one or two, then give to Unruly Manox.
Yeah, so before you go to Unruly, I just want to inform that people, we have been here for almost 3 hours now, and I think it sounds like it's very short because I know a lot of people have got a lot of things to say, and we have a lot to contribute, but always vanoti anzi zvoni kangoma karirise ndokaparuke kuti nhambe tambe inoregwa ichanaka. So we just want to have few people to contribute, then we can close the space and then debate on other platforms. Thank you. So, Unruly, you can go. Come. Unruly, you can come through, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Unruly. Yes. Okay. Think network challenges is dropped. Nap, Triple C, Doctor, just your parting words and your way forward, please.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Change Radio, and my brother Dobbs, my brother Mroji there. It's good to see you. Thank you very much for this discussion and for everyone who is participating. Let's share this space with as many Zimbabweans as possible on Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp groups, wherever Zimbabweans can be found, so that we talk about this. My parting words are that whoever is in power in Zimbabwe needs to be always doing the right thing, whether it's president, whether it's Speaker of Parliament, whether it's running our police service, whether it's the CIOs, whether it's the soldiers. They are there because we allow them to be there. We pay them as taxpayers of Zimbabwe. Wherever we are in the world, we're doing that. So whatever is going on within ZANU PF, that's their internal affairs. And that's okay. And the same is happening in Triple C, the same is happening in MDC, the same is happening in so many other political parties that are out there in Zimbabwe. What's very critical is that anybody who holds a position of power or is a representative of the citizens, they should always remember that they work for us as Zimbabwean citizens, whether you're a Speaker of Parliament, whether you're a President of the Senate, you work for us Zimbabwean citizens. Every one of us should always remember that. We should remember that. You can't say, I need doctor and I'm special, so I do this. So unfortunately for us as a country, the people running our government have taken Zimbabwean citizens for granted for so long. And I'm sure you have seen a hashtag yaitwa nemayuth yakanzi freedom or death. What we are asking for is to say, we fought for the war of in the war of liberation, which is 43 years ago, so that we could be free as a country, as a people. And freedom speaks to economic freedom, financial freedom, human rights freedom, right of choice. All those are very basic things, and dignity. I think that what people are not realizing is that a few very, very misguided individuals in our country have taken it upon themselves to say, we run you, or we manage you, or we determine your destiny, all of you. They take us for granted. And I think that that should come to an end. If people are here who may be part of these schemes, whatever is going on, look, we all know Speaker Jacob Mdenda should never have taken some stupid letter from a stupid nobody and make it such that you have a very drastic decision. It's not easy to just to say a member of parliament like Prince Dueko, how many people in Binga voted for him? You don't just wake up as speaker and say you are no longer a member of parliament. That's number one, taking that member of parliament or citizen represented for granted. Number two, that's taking the citizens for that particular constituency for granted. Number three, that's taking our country for granted, because guess what? When parliament does not do the work it was assigned to do, we all suffer as Zimbabwean citizens, whether you're Triple C or you're ZANU PF or an independent or any other political party. This has consequences. And unfortunately, they have done that with our elections that just ended in August. And they are going on, they're doubling down. All these shenanigans, all these tactics that they're doing after the election. They take Zimbabwean citizens for granted. That needs to end. And Mr. Mdenda and others who are part of these schemes have been asked to reinstate the members of parliament from Triple C who were recalled. We don't know what they're going to do with this ZANU PF mess that's unfolding. What we expect is at all times, people holding positions of power in our country should be working on behalf of the citizens. You may be ZANU PF, but remember the people paying your salary as Zimbabwean citizens, which includes those from Triple C, those from ZANU PF, those from the MDC, those from Passenger 34, and so many others. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the money that's used to pay for those representatives are from the taxpayers of Zimbabwe. The truth is, with the Political Finances Act, the Triple C as a movement won so many votes in Zimbabwe, and we as Zimbabwean citizens said, if a political party gets this percentage of votes in an election, they're entitled to these funds so that we can keep having citizens like this party. They want that party to flourish, to promote whatever philosophy they have, whether it's ZANU PF philosophy or Triple C or any other party. What we expect is that what you do for ZANU PF, you do for Triple C if you are running the treasury of of Zimbabwe as a nation. You don't pick and choose as an individual. That's an abuse of office. And this is where we are saying, Mr. Mdenda, stop abusing your office as Speaker of Parliament. The President of the Senate, the lady, you do the same. Who is instructing you to disrespect and disregard Zimbabwean citizens? That needs to come to an end. We shouldn't be continuing on this cycle when we have young people as young as 23 dying on our roads because, number one, the roads are in a terrible mess. Number two, when they go to the hospital, whichever hospital, whether it's a hospital in Mashingo or whether it's the one in Mutare, the results are the same. Our hospitals are not working. People can't even get oxygen at a hospital after a tragic accident like what happened to Gary. So there are so many terrible things happening in our country. What these guys who are doing all these desperate maneuvers, political maneuvers, or whatever you call them, what they are not realizing is what they are doing is deciding between life and death for all of us. The members of parliament right now who are disengaged until this error that Mr. Mdenda made is corrected, when they are disengaged, it means they are not talking about creating jobs for the many college students in our country who are unemployed. It means that they are not talking about how to fix our roads. They are not talking about how to make our hospitals work again, to make sure that doctors and nurses are paid decent salaries so they stay in our country, and that the hospitals have enough medications, that our schools are functioning properly, that our young people are learning the latest technologies, that entrepreneurs are getting support. There are so many things that should be happening that parliament is there to do. Number one, they should also be looking into our currency. Why in God's name don't we have a stable domestic currency? That's a basic function of any government in any country in the world. The fact that ZANU PF thinks that it's kind of a joke where we keep doing what we are doing, my gold coins, my bond notes, and they are failing and they still insist on staying there, means that they disregard how you and me as Zimbabwean citizens look at these things. But unfortunately for you and me, if we said, let's just fold our hands, wait for 2028, guess what? We would have lost so many lives. If some of you today may be as behind what's going on, like as me, in terms of what's happening in the region, until maybe earlier this year, I thought, oh, Malawi is a small country, Zambia is a small country. But actually, their populations are now bigger than that of Zimbabwe because we have a silent genocide going on in our country. Nobody's talking about it. And if we continue on this path and say, oh, just another, 2028, just imagine how many more lives we will lose in the next 5 years. And these guys don't care. Okay, so, and that is why they have been given 14 days to say, we want to resolve this governance crisis once and for all. We need to make sure that we have a process that every Zimbabwean citizen signs off of and says, this is open. This is going to give us better direction so that we have a government in which people are confident. When we have confidence in the government of the day, people are confident to invest. They are confident to come to our schools and our hospitals and so forth. We need, in 14 days from when the president made that announcement, they need to take that seriously, because after the 14 days, it's not ZANU PF or Triple C. It's about the people of Zimbabwe. We need our country to work again, and we can't wait for another 5 years. It's not about Ranga is now in power and I'm celebrating. It's about Ranga is in power so that life can be better for ordinary Zimbabwean citizens. That's what we need to be talking about. Thank you very much, Prof. I know I went all over here at the place here, but point is, that's why young people are saying freedom or death. Listen to us. Mr. Mdenda, just correct the mistake you made. The president of the Senate, do the same thing. Don't just listen to stupid letters and pretend like you don't know what due process is. Thank you.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Ranga, for those words. I see Unruly has come back. Do you want to say something and also a word of advice, please, before I go to general? Unruly, unmute yourself and come through. Okay, seems like Unruly is still having some challenges. I saw someone who just went down again. I think General has gone down. Dobbs, your last word, parting word, please.
Many thanks for hosting a space and others on the platform. We have to understand to say our country is being looted left, right, and center, and those ones in power, they've got that appetite where they won't be satisfied. Even those precious minerals like lithium, where they have exempted everybody else to export it, they are exporting it, and they are on express. They don't get stopped at the border. They've created a set of companies which are subcontracted by those mafias, that is, they don't even stop at the border, whether they at any direction, at any border, they don't stop on it. So some of the things we are doing, we are just trying to send the message that we are aware of what we are doing when we are closing, like what we are doing on the 26th, when we are saying we are closing the border. We are doing it just to send the message to say we are not happy of what is happening in Zimbabwe. I think you will see our placard to say it will have everything else and covering even the likes like the political detained and the issue of political violence. And that social contract is our main focus. We need to be governed or to be led by somebody whom we have elected, not somebody just imposing himself or herself on us to say, I am now your president. And these are your MPs. Well, they are coming from the thick air, declared from the thick air. So I just argue the people to say, let's just support each other. We know we have our presidential candidate, our MP, but let's just support each other. If we come with our program like that, and if I say that I've got a coffee link, I'm struggling at the moment to raise transport for buses from Joburg to Messina. But people are there who are willing to participate, but the issue of transport is becoming a bit challenging. So, even if there is anybody who is doing anything, even those ones who are doing call to act to defend the vote, I don't think CCC is going to receive any political finance. I think the finance will go through their creation, which is Chavangu. So we still have a role to play. We still have that fight to do. We are still going to fight the fight because we don't have that democracy. We don't have all those freedom. Those are my remarks. I received my marks. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you, Mkoma Dobbs. Co-hosts, do you want to say anything, parting words, or any advice, please, going forward?
Yeah, I think we have to go and rest. We have been here for more than 3 hours. I hope we'll be back tomorrow, earlier around 3 or 4 p.m. so that we can be discussing these issues every day. We can provide a platform where we gather around and discuss these issues. I just wanted to say that if you want to say something, or if you wish to us to continue this conversation, you can request the mic. We can continue. Before I give my last remark, I just wanted to say, if you want to say one or two words, you can request the mic. We want to have a platform where we discuss the issues that affect our country in a manner that provides truthful information, that provides that reflects on what is happening, the situation our relatives, the situation ourselves are in. You know what? Sometimes someone had to fly all the way from Britain to come to settle in Zimbabwe. Those people who have been to Britain, who have been to the Western countries, they will tell you that those countries, they are good in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the living conditions. Someone today is flying all the way from China, all the way from Japan, all the way from Russia to go and settle in Zimbabwe. They are running away from the country, their countries even today, to go back, to go to Zimbabwe, to look for money, to look for, I can say, for a better life. I can say for a business, but people of Zimbabwe, they can't stay in Zimbabwe and benefit from the natural resources, from their, I can say, their birthright. They cannot benefit from that. People in Zimbabwe, where business people are flocking into, people in Zimbabwe are failing to write exams today. They are failing to get decent medical support, medical services from the hospitals. So it just last week, people are firing bullets on the private mass, asking them why they refused to take that musician from Mashingo to Harare. In the first place, why is someone supposed to go to Harare to get a treatment, to get something, to get into ICU?
I think your network is playing hide and seek.
So if my network is playing hide and seek with me, then maybe I have to pass the mic to CCCNEP. CCCNEP, can you hear me? CCCNEP, can you hear me?
I think CCCNEP, can we give the true citizen first before we give to
yes, my brother.
Taranda?
Anytime
Please
my hand was sure.
Thank you so much.
I saw your hand. Yeah, you can go through the true citizen.
Thank you so much, Change the Show, Professor Post. Thank you so much for this space. I don't have much to say, but just to say, if this message should go to Mr. as the Speaker of Parliament, please let us restore order in Zimbabwe. When we look at all these recalls, it's causing a lot of chaos. A lot of chaos, and things are not what is supposed to be. This is actually disgusting. It's quite an embarrassment to the nation and to the world at large. Because when we look at this and you see what is happening, those MPs have been put to place for them to represent us as citizens. So when we say Mugenda says no, there's nothing I can do, It doesn't verify. Things just go and things are done. I want to believe that this, if it is in the system, I've just heard that it is part of the constitution, it is in the constitution. I think these are some of the reforms that must just be done. This recalling of MPs must be completely moved. People are playing with our future. He doesn't care. Look at this one also is calling about 70 MPs. We are not taking sides, whether I am a CC, whether I am a ZANU PF. What is happening? Is it building Zimbabwe or it is destroying Zimbabwe? We see ourselves being destroyed.
I don't know what is happening. Oh, it's my network also now playing hide and seek with me.
May you mute your mic? I think it's your network. When you are not speaking, Professor, may you mute your mic a bit? It was also giving some feedback.
Am I audible?
Yeah, audible.
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much. So I was saying, when I read this, I thought maybe these people are just playing with us. This is fake. This is not true. And then I continue to see a lot of things coming. And to me, I still think this is just a way of a compensatory behavior that is happening with the ZANU PF. After the recalling of the CC, they are trying to protect themselves to say, look, we also have our MPs being recalled. That's what I'm thinking. I might be wrong, but I still believe this is just a compensatory behavior to justify themselves that no, we are not involved in this. Look, also our MPs have been recalled. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think there is some truth in it in a way, because you can't have MPs just being recalled. Is it true that they have left ZANU PF? Is it true that they have left CC? I don't think so, unless otherwise. If something is hidden, something that is a parable, maybe it's a parable that we don't know what is happening. But at the end of the day, guys in CC, guys in ZANU PF, please be serious with the citizens. We can see there's a lot of mental stress. People are going to be sick because of what is happening. Look at our country. Instead of taking those resources and putting them in hospitals, what is happening? They are wasting those money. They want to do those by-elections, and by so doing, a lot of money and a lot of things will be needed. But they were saying we didn't have enough money during the elections. Now they want to do to also waste money doing the recalls, which means, in other words, they are pushing for the first election. That is what it means. This is not fair. Some of us are struggling. They have enough money in their pockets. That's why they are just doing a dilly-dally and wasting resources and doing all sorts of these things which do not even build the country at all. This is very destructive. My word to Mr. Mdenda is the one that is the Speaker of Parliament. These letters are being submitted to you. Please, Mr. Mdenda, if you are hearing me, verify this information, please. This is something that is quite embarrassing. It's actually pathetic looking at Zimbabwe. We are already suffering. The hospitals have no medication. Even now we had that learners had to write the exams at night. What kind of thing is that? We also voted at night. So many things have been happening. And as a result, after all that stress of people standing in the queue for a long time and could not vote, some were wrongly placed, and there were also mismatches of candidates. Everything is just wrong. Everything is just wrong. Nothing seems to be going on well in Zimbabwe. Are we cursed? What is it? Are these people who are doing recalls are really people who love Zimbabwe? Do they have Zimbabwe at heart? I don't think so. Because if these people had Zimbabwe at heart, they wouldn't be doing that. Of course, these people who are recalling, they are not doing it alone. There could be a group, there could be some people. Please, this must not be tolerated. We cannot tolerate this, especially as women. Women are the ones that suffer most. Most of the time, we are the ones that must wake up and prepare food for the kids. They are the ones that do a lot in whatever we do. And men, yes, we know they do work, but it's us who are always you have to take care of the homes and all the families. You are stressing women by all these things that is happening. Nothing is working good in Zimbabwe. Look at the currency. Look at how prices are going up. Just now we had people who are still underground, according to what I heard. Some bodies could not be retrieved from that mine. They are probably rotten by now. But we have money to throw away, money to do things that are not even beneficial to the citizens. Everything that is happening, especially these recalls, are detriment to development. They are detriment to good health, because at the end of the day, some people are going to have high blood pressure. Those MPs, they are also stressed because they have put their money, they have put their effort, they have put their energy in all these elections. They did not just do, they would go up and down. Then after doing that, having the electorate at heart, then someone says, no, I'm recalling you. We are no longer members of CC, are no longer member of ZANU MPs. And why? Why must you do that? It's not even a month before you can even say that person ceases to be a member of ZANU MPs. It's not even 2-3 months that these people have been in parliament, and you say they cease to be CC members. Those people must be taken to the psychologists. I'm sure they are not okay upright here. There is something wrong. Really, they really need to be seen and to be checked. I don't think their brains are functioning normally. Because if they were functioning normally, then they would be doing what they are doing right now. Because to be honest, looking at how Zimbabweans are struggling, they've left the country. They are all over. They have been misplaced because of hardships, because of economic hardships, because of whatever is happening in our country. But you continue to do this. More people will leave. More people are going to leave. And they will be in the countries where they will be called to all sorts of names, Makwere and whatever name they will be given. Please, let us be one. Whether you're ZANU PF, whether you're CCC, whether you are whatever party you are, let's not do things that hurt the ordinary citizens. Do things that benefit you and stop doing things that actually destroy the citizens, that destroy Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is for us all. It's not about Venerayo, it's not about CC, it's for all the citizens. If the leaders of all these parties would know that, I'm sure they would start respecting us. They must respect our vote. This recalling of MPs must stop and must be completely stopped. Every MP that was elected must go back to parliament, unless otherwise. I don't know their motive. I don't know why they are doing that, but we cannot live in a country where things are going on like this. It's a messy. It's a messy. Thank you so much. I think I'll go on and go on and go on, but I think I've said enough because my heart is aching and you begin to wonder. 70. How can 70 people cease to be to be members of a party at one go? How? How is it so? Even the number that was recalled for CC, so many of them Aye, man. We must not do that. We must not do that. Thank you so much. We know women are, have got people, have got children at heart. We are mothers. We are sisters. We don't want to see our brothers, our mother, our children being hurt. So we'll never stand so low to do the recalls. We can see these recalls are being done by men. Why? Because men do not carry children in their womb. We carry children in our womb. We have gone through labor. We know what it means to hate your own child, to hate your own brother. We know what it means to hate your own neighbor, because we have gone through pain, pain that you think maybe I'll die. So don't think there will be any woman who will do such kind of recalls to hate their own children that they have born. I don't think there will be any woman who will stand so low to do these recalls. Even those men that have done so, please reconsider. Reconsider. You are hating us. We are in pain. We are crying. We are suffering because of these recalls that are uncalled for, that are unwarranted for. Please, all those that are supposed to protect citizens, do so. Thank you so much. I yield.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Over to you, CC Snap. You can say one or two as I see. Sorry, CC Snap. The previous co-host was saying that he wanted more women to come to the podium and say one or two words. It's important that we have more women to comment on these issues, speak their minds, and the platform is not only for men. You can request the mic and say one or two words. I think we'll close on top of the hour, so we still have time, and you can still invite others to come and listen, come and say one or two words. I see there are many prominent women who are in the listeners, so you can request the mic and say one or two words. But we are here discussing the issue of recalls. She mentioned, the previous speaker, that men are leading these recalls. I came across the information that revealed that Kalipan Pogen and the lawyer who is representing Shawangu, they are all men. Kalipan Pogen is said to be his spokesperson or personal assistant. I'm not sure. Then his lawyer again is a male. So all this is coming from men, and we find ourselves, maybe I'm trying to just complement what my sister was saying. So we need more voices. We need to hear what women think. And I just wanted also to mention that we saw a video of Honorable Mamombe being subjected to bullying especially when men are involved. If they are women themselves, but when men are involved, it becomes too sensitive. And we have to correct this, I think, as a community, as a society. We have to respect men. But what then boggles the mind is that we have so many women groups, women organizations, women rights organizations, but they don't say anything. When women in politics are being persecuted like this, we have a lot of cases when women, especially in politics, are being persecuted, are being treated like that. But those organizations, they don't say anything. So that's what I just wanted to add on this issue. Over to you, CC.
Oh, thank you so much, my brother at Change Radio. The true citizen, I had said my last words, but hearing you speak. I think we should have this conversation going on for as long as we can, for the sake that Zimbabwe needs to work again for everyone. And that means for women, for children, for men, for college students, for police officers, for those in the military, for our CIOs. We need our country working again. It's not normal to live in a country where abuse of ordinary citizens has been normalized, where people celebrate when we see the scenes that were happening in parliament when Mr. Mdenda called in the riot police into parliament. That should not be happening. I know that for us Zimbabwean citizens, this seems normal. It is not. And we should do everything in our power as citizens to speak up. I know that sometimes people will say, munongotaura muri anonzi chinyi ma keyboard warriors, and you just talk on Twitter, nothing happens. The truth of the matter is that when we raise our voices, the people here, whether it's ordinary citizens in Zimbabwe, whether it's those running the government who are doing all this stupid stuff, they hear. Not only that, the world. When we say for Zimbabwe, we want the world to pay attention to what is going on in Zimbabwe so that they help us to fix this problem once and for all. Every citizen in every country have their own challenges. But if we don't speak with one voice as citizens to say what we are dealing with is not normal and we need to fix it, we're going to fix it together, people carry on with their lives, whether they're in South Africa or Zambia or Zimbabwe or America. So it's very important that we have spaces like this, Change Radio. Thank you for hosting these spaces. And we hope that those running the government realize that things are going to change one day. It might seem like, ZANU PF has been doing this for 43 years, so it's going to continue. That's how it looks right now. But 9 days to go before citizens take it to the next level. I don't know what the citizens of Zimbabwe will do when that 14-day window is over. What I know is that we're speaking with one clear voice, asking for very basic things. Number one, we want a fair, free election where every Zimbabwean citizen can freely choose their leaders, whether those leaders happen to be ZANU PF, whether they happen to be Triple C, whether they are independents like Passenger 34. If the majority of Zimbabwean citizens freely choose those leaders, we will run our country much better. And the reason why is because all of us want the government of the day to be successful. That is what we should want, even if we don't agree with who is in charge of the government at any particular point in time. We want them to be successful because when they succeed as a government, it benefits us, ordinary Zimbabwean citizens, because they are doing our work on our behalf. They are doing our work when it comes to fixing our economy, when it comes to making sure that our healthcare delivery system is working, our education system is working. That's what they're supposed to be doing every single day. They're supposed to be competing about, I can do this better. Unfortunately, what we have seen is that these guys are just, they're entitled. And that entitlement, unfortunately, mentality has seeped down to a lot of Zimbabwean citizens who today say, because ndini Dr. Ranga, I don't like Amaizu's kitchen, saka ndichavabvisa muparliament, or kana ndichavanyima mari yezvakati. How, just imagine how sadistic that is. But unfortunately, in Zimbabwe, that has been normalized. And we as citizens have given those running our government every opportunity to change the way they do business. Unfortunately, it seems like, absolute power corrupts. So now, instead of getting better and better in the last 43 years, they've gotten worse and worse and worse, where they don't even know what's normal, what's not. Some things that people laugh at or they celebrate on Twitter handles from government spokesperson stuff. I have seen people like the permanent secretary for information, something, that deputy something, Charamba, mocking people at funerals, Zimbabwean citizens at funerals. That's not normal. But that has been normalized because these guys have been running the show for so long. What I want to assure all of us here is that Zimbabwean citizens are realizing that you cannot outsource the problems of governance that we are facing as a country. Each of us has to play their role. Dr. Ranga is a person, I am not perfect. There are some things I do very well as an individual. There are some things I mess up. My wife will tell you that. What we need to do as a people is to demand accountability, transparency, making sure that those in government make our nation, our country work better. That's all we ask. You don't get there so that you start looting like what we have. So you get there so that you make the lives of all of us better. So, Mr. Mdenda, I am sure his proxies are going to get this message. We as Zimbabwean citizens are saying to you, the things you need to do are very simple. You made a mistake. You should never, ever accept letters from anybody from the streets and say, because Dr. Ranga has written me this beautiful letter saying, Tawita recall people like Wanafadzai Mahere, our former spokesperson for Triple C, I'm taking this on. That's abnormal. But unfortunately, our leaders in Zimbabwe government have gotten so lazy and they take us for granted. Right now, if you ask me, those members of parliament who are disengaged in terms of being in parliament, guess what? Right now, people like Fadzai Mahera are going to universities across Zimbabwe, whether it's University of Zimbabwe, Kuchinoi University, finding out what's going on in the life of college students in Zimbabwe, because Fadzai Mahera is in one of the committees. If she's not the chairperson, in higher education. That's what we should be focusing on, to say these are the problems that students are facing across the country. This is common. Every student says, if there was a way we could get government grants or loans so that we can afford to pay for college fees, let's find a solution to that. That's common, whichever university you go to in Zimbabwe. Number two, those at the University of Zimbabwe are saying the buses zamunoti tikwire vaya medical students anogara ku Mount Pleasant but chikoro chiri kuparenyatwa haana kukwana. What can be done long term to fix those kind of problems for Zimbabwe college students, for instance? This is the work that our parliamentarians must be doing. However, we have normalized the situation where people feel entitled. Umwe anotengesa mombe dzese, obika doro, oita say, so that once ndapinda parliament, now I can abuse everyone else. Now ndapinda council, I will abuse everybody else. Now ndava president, ndaawisa madzimai kuti vabatewo chikwama chenyika, ndoisa mwana kuti ange achibata iye kids dzekuamari dzekuarmy, and a lot of other atrocious things that should never be acceptable. Not even in Zimbabwe. Okay? These are things now they have normalized that we should not normalize. Unfortunately for you and me, some people call it suffer continua because it's getting worse. It's getting worse. You don't save and reject people like Mtuli, Kukaudri Park. My citizens are Iwewe Mtuli, we don't want you anymore. We don't want you to be a member of parliament. You have failed as a finance minister. Right now, at a functional currency. You don't then say, my ministers, I know is wakane, they appointing power in any eating. So don't question me. Kana mune vanhu vakaita sana Coventry, Kesti Coventry, vokuti hatisi tombonangana stadium iri certified neFIFA kuti vana vatambe bhora, nyika tione bhora and so forth. And you say, wabvunzwa kuti inini ndinoita zvandinoda, you don't question me. That is absolutely wrong. Mnangagwa is not a king. He even, when they were deposing ED, when they were deposing Mugabe in 2017, ED ndiye akanyora tsamba Achiti Zimbabwe is not your personal property. He was saying that to Mugabe and Grace, if you recall. And he is the same one, paanga ari kuitwa pa inauguration, the voice of the people is the voice of God. What has happened to that? Anyway, Isusu, my brother, change radio, we can talk until the cows come home. The point being the same. Mr. Mudenda needs to reinstate my triple C MPs avakabisa. We expect him to do to ZANU PF what he did to triple C, although it's very wrong. I think the better approach is to make sure that Parliament is doing the work it was
CCC, I can't hear you. The true citizen, can you hear CCC? CCC, please. Yes. The true citizen, do you want to say anything? I think we have to close.
Not much. Like just as I have said that we need these MPs back in Parliament. Like yesterday, they must be there and they must start working for us because they are employed to work for us. They are supposed to save us. Just like we had the other time saying Zimbabwe for everyone. It doesn't matter who I support. It doesn't matter where I am. I might be poor, I might be rich, I might be that middle class, but I want a full representation of my vote. I want these people to represent us, and these MPs must come to us and listen to us. ED, if he really wants to be the president of Zimbabwe, he must listen to citizens. Otherwise, we are crying. This country is not working. Everything is just going to the doldrums. Everything is not working. Look at the education, the health system, the transport system, everything, the roads, everything. Nothing seems to be working. Actually, we don't want to say seems. Nothing is working. If it's working, it's just partially. When we look at it, a country must show that there is some progress. Ever since the government, this NPF came to power, the country has actually been going down bit by bit. It's like every day something is being subtracted. Instead of adding to our economy, instead of adding to everything, everything is being subtracted. Look at the buildings, they are so dilapidated. So much that even when you get to look at those people who were during our time that were there, they know how the city of Harare looked like. They know how the city of Bulawayo looked like. It was such a nice thing to say, oh, I'm from Harare, I'm going to Bulawayo. You'll be excited. I'm going to Harare, you'll be excited. Even Guero, those buildings were so excellent and it was so nice. Walking in those parks in Harare, and look at it now. Where are those things? Everything is finished. Sun PF is like eating everything. They are not just eating money, they are eating everything. The buildings, there is no maintenance, there is nothing. Nothing. And cars are being bought every day for every 5 years or after every, I don't know, time for MPs, for the ministers, for him alone. Now there are those helicopters that have been bought, and they were said to be ambulances with even those prices that are so exorbitant. Now we have our children dying, not Gary alone. So many people have had fatal accidents, but they could not be airlifted. Yet they bought helicopters and said they were going to be for as ambulance, to serve as ambulances. But we saw those same ambulances being used for election, not for everyone else, but only for ZANU PF. Yet it's state money. Why should we not be treated fairly? I believe fairness and equity is very important. We really need to share equally and considering equity for each and every party, each and every province. There must be not a province that must benefit more. I hope there are MPs there. Make sure that there are no provinces that benefit more than the others. Not because the president comes from Mashingo, so Mashingo must benefit. No, it doesn't matter which province you are coming from. We are all Zimbabweans. We are all one. We also need to enjoy, to be really truly citizens. That no, okay, this is my country. Not that other people are enjoying and other people are struggling. And we see even the issue of nepotism. What is happening in Zimbabwe? What is going on? How can you do that? We need things that are orderly. Even right now, we saw our the mother, who is this one, Auxilia Mnangagwa, going to Spain to represent us in tourism. In what capacity? We want to know, we want to be informed. We don't want to just see things happening. And then we begin to ask, but why? She was sitting on the speaker's chair in parliament. Why? As who? We need to be informed. We have every right to know what is going on in Zimbabwe. Yes, they may say whatever they want as the ones that are in power and that are governing. But remember, we want leaders who even show those young ministers and MPs the right way to go. Because whenever they are not doing things right, it means even those youngsters that are coming into parliament, those ministers, those young ministers, will also emulate the same things that these old madaras are doing, thinking that those are the right things to do. We cannot tolerate this anymore. You can't even sleep. We are really stressed emotionally. We are stressed in every way. And I know I'm not the only one. If we were to ask each and everyone, if it was possible to say everyone, unmute your mic right now and talk, really maybe I'm even saying it in a lighter way. It's not fair. It's not fair, really. Just imagine those old ladies that were standing in the queue. Some even slept and said, "We are not going to go before I cast my vote." Now there they are. They ended up not casting their vote, or they casted their vote. But what happened? The election was not free and fair. Some people were frog marched. Some people had to sleep. Some people couldn't even vote. They couldn't find their names in the voters' roll. But you see that even those that are in power have the audacity to say the election was free and fair. That's not it. Let's work and make sure that we live by the truth. Rather than to live a lie. We don't want to live a lie, because if this country is being ruled through a lie, everything also will just go rotten. Everything will not work because it is being led by lies. It is only the truth that will set us free. It's better that these things are yours rather than taking what is not yours. Because at the end of the day, zvinokuzvimbira kana wakazvimbirwa end up wakuita mudumbu kana kuti wakuita vomit. So let's not do that, please. All those that are responsible, respect us. Yes, we might be nobodies, but we really need to. You must respect our votes. You must respect the time that people stood in queues to cast their votes. Some people are being beaten. We see even our councillors, our MPs, other than being recalled every time, it's up and down going to the courts. All those resources that the country is wasting, guys, people are suffering. Some people don't even have food at the table, at their table. They sleep even on one meal. That is if they get it. Rather than using all those monies and using fuel to go and abduct a member of parliament, a councillor, all that fuel, if it could be just be saved for other people that are suffering, buy them food. There are people in charitable organizations that do not have even clothes to wear. There are people in the location, in the rural areas, that don't even have maize seeds to put. We see the rains have just started now. They don't even have seeds to plant or to grow for their next season or for the food and everything. But we have got money to say, recall, they must have a by-election. Then you've got also money to say, this one, it is all lies. This one did this. This ZANU PF will say I was beaten by this CC. There is a lot of lies, and then at the end it's so no, they couldn't find evidence. But we've already wasted the resources that we were supposed to use for something else that is of importance. We really need to be respected. That's my point tonight. My submission is said we need the respect that we deserve. We deserve the respect. We deserve to be treated fairly. We deserve, and we also want to see our children that have been incarcerated, that are in prison, taken out of those prisons. Like I said, we are women. We carry those children in our bodies. Kuzvara kwomumwe kuzvara kwangu. Kurwadziwa kwomwana womumwe kurwadziwa kwangu. Nokuti kunyange dai ndikafamba apa mwana iyeye ndinomutuma anoziva kuti mai vangu anonditakura. Handimbofa, hambondisiya ndiri murodhi. Moti mama, maita sei? Because mwana womumwe but mwana wangu. So kana mwana iyeye ari kuitwa being incarcerated in prison, how do we feel as mothers? If you are a mother that has given birth, a mother that has got children, then you must feel pity for Sikala. Now we hear he's sick, but they still keep him in. What do they want out of Sikala? Why are they incarcerating him for so long without a trial? He has been in pre-trial, and to make matters worse, he's not a murderer, but he's in Chikurubi. He is there. You even see him in leg irons. Did he kill someone? Why? If your heart does not hate because of what is happening, it means you are wicked. Really, those that are in power, may you release those people. Ngari Vume has also joined and has been given 4 years just for speaking out, for calling out for a demonstration. Aye, man. That's bad. That's really bad. Whatever is happening, it's heartbreaking.